Sizes and varieties, Atkins protein-rich shakes, cookies, or snack bars, $5.98 each. And select sizes and varieties General Mills cereal, 2 for $5. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Enjoy the best of Asheville's food scene during the 10th Annual Asheville Restaurant Week, January 18th through 24th. Over 30 local restaurants will offer special menus for takeout, delivery, and dine-in. Find out more at AshevilleRestaurantWeek.com.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
Tennessee Titans open up the divisional round Saturday in Nashville. Keyshawn Johnson says he'll take the Bengals QB receiver tandem over the Titans.
Well, I'm taking Burrow and Chase. I'm not even thinking about it. This is a matchup made in heaven. Two guys that went to LSU together. They just been phenomenal. People tried to tell me, and I wouldn't listen, that they were going to light up the scoreboard in the National Football League. But I was wrong. Now I'm right because I'm picking them.
Keyshawn Johnson today on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Jamar Chase, 116 receiving yards in the Bengals' wildcard game against the Raiders. No rookie in NFL history has ever recorded multiple 100-yard receiving games in the postseason. Bulls' Lonzo Ball will have surgery on a torn meniscus in his left knee. Guard expected to miss the next 6 to 8 weeks. Bulls right now percentage points ahead of the Miami Heat for the top spot in the Eastern Conference. Phoenix Suns on the road in Dallas tonight to face the Mavericks. Coverage on ESPN Radio affiliates at 7 p.m. Eastern. Suns right now have won 8 in a row in the series against the Mavericks. Suns have also entering tonight with an NBA best 17-4 record on the road.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Now your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, Bills. That's Bills. Enter it on our station website now.
Log on now to ESPNABL.com.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, 2 men, 1 journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit.
Let's go!
Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, The Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingalls Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings. And Wicked Weed Brewing. Drink different.
And welcome in to ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. It is The Sportsocracy. Here in the Ingalls studio, first hour of the program, always brought to you by our good friends over at Ingalls. Low prices, love the savings. I'm Tank Spencer. Jeremy Greene is alongside, and we are just 2 days away. We are 2 days away from the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and that means the pressure gauge turns up. We're going to talk about what teams, coaches, quarterbacks, whatever, are under the most pressure in this divisional round of the playoffs. 4 o'clock, Jones Angel, the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, going to join us to talk about this rocky road that the Tar Heels basketball program has been on here under Hubert Davis. We'll talk about how, the amazing Armando Bacot, all of the pressure on Caleb Love to run the offense, all of that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, as well as we're going to play the fun game of Fun or Fatal Fact. I'll give you some facts about teams that are still in the divisional playoff, and whether or not that's just, a fun little thing, or whether it's something that actually matters and could be the fatal flaw in them. But first,
we're also going to decide something today.
We're going to decide something today.
Yeah.
Okay.
So last week we live streamed Raiders Bengals.
Yes.
We are going to determine what game we're going to live stream this week. So on our YouTube channel, there is a poll. What game should we live stream this weekend? And you have 4 options. Cincinnati, Tennessee, Kansas City, Buffalo, Green Bay, San Francisco, or why just one? I'm not doing Tampa Bay with you. It's not happening. I will actually kill you on camera, and I feel like that would be hard to get away from. I feel like the evidence there is too mounting, and even no matter how good my attorney is, it would be hard for me to get off.
All right, so you refuse to do the Tampa Bay game.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So if there is a selection, and if 2 is the winner,
Well, then it'll be Kansas City, Buffalo, and whatever game you pick for Saturday.
Right.
Because I'm not doing it. I'm not listening to fire those cats. By golly, blood more better. I'm not doing. No, I'm not.
Not going to do it.
I'm not. Okay.
Not
I know my own limitations, and I'm just not doing it.
Okay. All right. So you can vote on that on the YouTube stream if you're not hooked up with the YouTube stream yet. What are you waiting on? Go to thesportsocracy.com. Click on that live video link. Hit the subscribe button. You can get you into the chat and everything. You can join the House of Reprehensibles if you want to join our nice little membership group on YouTube. And of course, you can vote on what game we will be live reacting to this weekend in the divisional round of the playoffs. But the scuttlebutt today is that Jim Harbaugh, sources are saying that Jim Harbaugh, if he's offered an NFL contract.
No, you've already got the story wrong.
Okay.
He will take the Raiders job or he will stay at Michigan. There's no other job it's only the Raiders.
The Giants are no longer in this discussion.
There are no other. This comes from The Athletic, and this has come from Colin Cowherd all week long. If he's offered the Raiders job, he will take it. I have said that for weeks.
Okay.
And I think they're going to offer it, and I think he is going to take it. And I've heard all of Jim Harbaugh, he's a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is just one of those. There are certain conversations that there are two sides. There is the right side and there's the wrong side. Okay. And if you don't understand why Jim Harbaugh is the best coach out on the market that any team could hire, I can't really help you.
Mm-hmm.
But what it got me thinking about, and we've kind of dubbed today Under Pressure Thursday.
Yes.
How attractive is the Michigan job?
I would say it's mildly attractive. I would say
people would argue with you that coming off a berth in the playoff, coming off a great year, a lot of people would argue that's a top 10 job in college football.
Okay.
I would argue it's a bottom 10 job in college football.
Bottom 10?
Total.
Okay.
And I'm counting Power 5. All right, I'm not comparing Michigan to Akron. All right, that's because the expectations are outsized.
I agree.
And I would also argue that's why Jim Harbaugh will take the job with the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's already played this game. He's already played this game of I'm letting it be known. This information is coming from somewhere. People aren't just making this up because I've been hearing the same thing for weeks.
Right.
Jim Harbaugh's interested in the Raiders. He's interested in Darren Waller. He's interested in Josh Jacobs. And above all else, he's interested in Derek Carr.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one job that I can slide into with the NFL where I know I have, yes, he's a middle-aged quarterback, but he's a good elite-level quarterback. And that's what Jim Harbaugh wants.
Mm-hmm.
I want another crack at the NFL, and this is the best place for me to do it.
Well, see, that's why when the original article that I read said, obviously there's interest in the Raiders job, but that you also have interest in the Giants job. And I went, he ain't going there.
No.
He just played that game at Michigan of we don't have a quarterback, let's go find a quarterback. How much did we, pound him over the last, 4 years of he should be able to bring in a quarterback. And he hasn't been able to do it. He's definitely not going to do that at the NFL level.
The only interest is in the Raiders job.
Yep.
That's the job he would take. Big market, stays on the West Coast. Everything I've heard is he does not want to come to the East Coast under any circumstances.
Okay.
He flirted with the Jets. I actually think he's flirted with the Jets twice, but it's not as widely reported the first time.
That makes me curious. Why? Why not? Why would he not go to the East Coast?
That's where he wants to be.
Yeah. Okay.
He likes it on the West Coast. He liked it in San Francisco,
mm-hmm.
outside of Trent Baalke.
Right.
And so my question is, all right, let's say that happens. Let's say Jim Harbaugh takes this job with the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
What's Michigan do?
I want to say they'll hire from within.
Oh, they don't really. I mean, Josh Gaddis. Good luck with that.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that yesterday of why. Don't do that.
I mean, former offensive coordinator for Alabama, it just falls right in line with what everybody else is doing in their coaching searches.
But if you mean by everyone, Notre Dame's the only one that really did that.
That hired an offensive coordinator from Alabama?
No. I thought you were talking about hiring from within.
Oh, no. No,
they're going to go big game hunting because the first call they'll make is Luke Fickell. And I would argue he'd tell them no.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue Cincinnati's a better job right now than Michigan is. You're getting ready to slide into the Big 12 where the competition is not that deep.
Mm-hmm.
You have pretty much a ready-made opportunity to get in the playoff every year.
Well, there's one major thing that is going to keep top level coaches from wanting to take the Michigan job.
And that it's not a good one?
Well, I mean, to me, it's Ohio State. That's the thing that would keep you from taking this job, is you're always going to be behind Ohio State. You
to
disagree?
Me, I do.
Okay.
It's more cyclical than people think. I think Ohio State's is a premier job in the country.
Mm-hmm.
It's cold. The television thing doesn't really matter anymore. And now you're going to trot into a playoff playing 4 SEC teams, and I could argue they're probably all better than you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's what's going to keep you from taking this job, cool. When an SEC job comes open, we'll let you know.
Right.
Because that's all you would take.
Mm-hmm.
My argument is Jim Harbaugh had to take a pay cut going into this year just to keep his job.
Yes.
Because Michigan was so Seacrest out on him. Do you realize how good he's been? Genuinely, how good he's actually been at Michigan. Also, you've struggled with Michigan State, the rival.
Mm-hmm.
You've struggled with Ohio State. I get it. His record as a coach is 90-45.
Okay.
If you take out only the first year at Stanford and at Michigan, his loss total almost gets cut in half.
Okay.
This is one of the best coaches in the country
Mm-hmm.
that gets no respect whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Why would anybody want to follow that? This is the Michigan man. Everything I've heard about for a billion years that you want at Michigan.
Right.
And it's been a disaster. It's been a nightmare. Why would anybody want to fill that?
Well, somebody's going to. I mean, because it's Michigan and it's
they're not going to hire a coach. What I'm
not.
saying is you're not going to get anybody with options. The Luke Fickles of the world are going to tell you to go fly a kite. And would you like me to tell you what tells me that? That after you fired Lloyd Carr, there was a whole lot of Brady Hoke.
Right.
That's what this job is. And that's why Jim Harbaugh's ultimately going to leave it. He's calling the same play that Nick Saban called. I had forgotten this until it was pointed out to me.
Okay.
You remember there was a time not that long ago that Nick Saban started, there were whispers, oh, maybe he can't recruit the way he used to. They'd had a couple, by Alabama standards, bad years.
Mm-hmm.
So he went and flirted with Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, his salary doubled.
Mm-hmm.
Never been another whisper. Jim Harbaugh's doing the same thing, and Michigan's calling the bluff. They're calling the bluff because they're not going to pay him.
Then they're going to lose him.
His salary's not doubling. He's at $4 million, and they were hunky-dunky of, oh, cool, you beat Ohio State, you went to the playoff, we can live with that.
Mm-hmm.
We can live with that at $4 million.
That's not where it stays.
That's one of the worst fan bases in sports, and I will argue that until literally I'm blue in the face.
I think I could get on with that. But the price tag has to go up. Like, if you want me to stay here, the price tag has to go up. I gave you the 50% break because we weren't living up to expectations. Now what you got to say? I won the Big Ten. I went to the college football playoff. Yes, I got outclassed by Georgia in the semifinal, but it's the only time you ever been to the CFP semifinal. So, I thought that could be a play here. Like when they went to the semifinal and it started coming out, oh, Harbaugh's going to listen to offers from the NFL. Remember, we were talking about it, and I said, he could have genuine interest. I don't understand why he wouldn't have genuine interest because he had great success in the NFL. But you can make a play for more money this way. But I think this goes well beyond that because now you have a franchise that is hard after Jim Harbaugh. They want him to come.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that.
It's pretty common perception.
To me, this was a play. This was a play of, I would really like to stay at Michigan, but there is interest here. It aligns with everything I've ever wanted. Now let's see how you react. And so far, Michigan has failed. Let me ask you a fun question.
Okay.
Jim Harbaugh has been at Michigan since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
How many 9+ win seasons do they have in the 7 years he's been there?
6?
5.
5? Okay.
Well, you got to take out it's 5 of 6 if you take out the coronavirus year because they only played 6 games.
Yeah.
How many did they have in the 20 years before that? 20 years. So from 2014 back to 1994.
Let me guess. 4.
It's 7.
Okay.
And yet there's still been the criticism. There's still been the why. You are what you are. After this many years, you are what you are. Now let me ask the same question a different way. If you take out the first 5 years of that, 4 of them were in those 5 years. The 15 years before that, they'd had 4.
Right.
Total. It's not a good job. It's not a good program. I would argue it's one of the hardest jobs in America, and it falls right in line with Nebraska. Oh, you were great in the 80s. You've been dog water for 30 years. Since the minute Tom Osborne left the building, you've been dog water. But Bill Callahan had a year. So did Central Florida.
Right. I think it's up there. It's up there with the Nebraska job, with, heck, Tennessee. I know I throw a lot of shade at Tennessee, but Tennessee's the same
thing. You throw too much
thing.
shade at Tennessee. Tennessee's still in the SEC, and they print money. To me, it's not even the ballpark. There's one SEC job that I think even contends with this, and I love making people angry every time I say this.
Okay.
This is Auburn.
That's
Auburn
right.
falls right in line with Michigan. And now you're going to run probably the best thing that's ever happened to this program right out the door. Because the thing I never could wrap my head around, Jim Harbaugh's had interest basically every year from the NFL.
Yes.
Detroit Lions were interested at one time. The Jets have been interested multiple times. The Dolphins, I don't care what Stephen Ross said, the Dolphins have been interested. Why would you settle on the Raiders? Why is that the job that you're – because it's the one that's open. That's the only thing that makes any sense. No, you're not going to want the Texans or the Jaguars or the Giants. But the Raiders are a playoff team. Playoff team this year, I would say borderline, and have been for a couple years.
Yeah.
It's a reasonably attractive job. But what you thought was going to happen, I'm going to take the pay cut. I'm going to be the Michigan man. We're very talented. And next year they'll do right by me. And they didn't. And now he's looking around with his Oliver Twist bowl in his hand going, but I thought this was going to be filled. Jim Harbaugh's going to be the next head coach of the Raiders. I see almost no way that doesn't happen. He's a weird guy, and he's a kooky guy. I would set it at 95% right now. And I won't be shocked if it happens by this time next week.
Just because he feels disrespected by Michigan? You think?
I don't think there's another play. You look at how much they lose. You know how this fan base is. And the fact that beating Ohio State was enough for them, that runs a type A personality out. Oh, you're good with the fact we got absolutely shellacked in the CFP. You don't care about that. You only care that we beat Ohio State. And that's not sustainable.
No, it's baby steps.
Best case scenario, the best Michigan could possibly hope for over the next 10 years, you beat Ohio State 4 times. Because they're just flat out better than you.
And you make the college football playoff and get dusted again.
You're like the blind man that was told to sit in the corner of a round room. There's no way for me to win this, and I'm not. And once I figure it out, I'm done playing your little game.
Right.
Well, I think that's where Jim Harbaugh is. He's walked around the room. He's figured out there's no corners, and there's no way to win. So now you take the exit ramp at the one that is presented to you.
And if you're a coach that's out there on the market or considering other positions, if they'll do that to their own, if they'll do that to the Michigan guy, the guy who brought the program back to national relevance, yeah, I could understand why. Why would you want to take that job? They have no reason to back me up because I'm not Jim Harbaugh. I'm not the best name that they've ever, that they've had in the last 40 years as their head coach.
And now going into the break, I'm just going to say something, and it'll ruffle some feathers. If you take away Bo Schembechler and you take away Jim Harbaugh, Michigan is way closer to Georgia Tech than they are to Ohio State.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. The pressure has turned up for the teams left in the playoffs. The divisional round coming up on Saturday. Don't forget to vote on the YouTube stream. Our poll up. Which game Or should we just limit to one game that we live react to this week, like we did with the Las Vegas Raiders Cincinnati Bengals game? Who's under the most pressure? We'll discuss it up next.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Mostly cloudy and cold for us here tonight. A few flurries or even a couple of light snow showers possible. Still a bit windy with a gusty north wind at times, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Temperatures tonight into the mid-20s. Cloudy skies and colder for us on Friday with a few flurries or a couple of light snow showers possible. High temperatures, low part of the 30s. Teens Friday night, partly cloudy Saturday, Sunday, low 40s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by Marion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
A $4 risk-free and refundable deposit will get you started on your customized new vehicle only at Marion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Get free shipping within a 150-mile radius of the store. Everyone knows you get a better deal down the mountain. Go to MarionCDJR.com to start your order.
Think you can handle another iHeartRadio True Crime Week? With thousands of true crime podcasts to choose from, finding your next case to binge can be a little intimidating. Lucky for you, our investigators are on the scene with an entire lineup of podcasts to get you started. From stone cold killers to cold cases waiting to be cracked, including the new iHeart podcast, The MLK Tapes.
He never confessed.
Open the free iHeart app and search True Crime to start your next podcast obsession. iHeartRadio. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
Hey folks, DG here. I have raved about Dr. Rebecca Merrill and her staff at Asheville Smiles for years now, and I hope you've already taken my advice. But don't just take my word for it. Gary recently gave a 5-star review online saying, quote, "I love the personal touch, !" They did a great job and explained everything they were doing. I am very happy we found Asheville Smiles, ! Believe me and Gary and the online review masses. And visit AshevilleSmiles.com.
Sometimes it's the little victories that mean the most. At Ingalls, we know there's no one you'd rather share those miniature memorable moments with than family. Ingalls, all the ingredients for family.
This week at Ingalls, select sizes and varieties Cheez-It crackers, 2 for $6. Select sizes and varieties Dunkin' Bag or K-Cup coffee, $4.98 each. And select sizes and varieties General Mills cereal, 2 for $5. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
Hi, I'm Chad Greenway. After retiring from the NFL, I've embraced my new role coaching my kids in their youth sports. Our Youth Basketball Association made the decision to use trusted coaches to train, screen, and educate all of our basketball coaches. Visit trustedcoaches.org to learn more. I'm a trusted coach. Are you?
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Hey guys, I'm Ziggy, your local Philly girl, owner of Ziggy's Bakery and Deli. I've created a traditional northern deli with only the most authentic cheesesteaks outside of Philadelphia, served with provolone, white American, or Cheese Whiz. Our other classic deli sandwiches are made with the best quality meats and cheeses, available sliced by the pound. Join us for breakfast for house-made bagels with our custom cream cheeses. Or for something heartier, try a pork roll, egg, and cheese or house-cured lox. Ziggy's Bakery and Deli, in the corner of Asheville Commons, 1550 Hendersonville Road, open 8 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
The Sportsocracy.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Check us out at thesportsocracy.com. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel so you can get in on the chat. Help us decide which playoff game, if it's just one, that we are going to live react to this weekend in the divisional round. Yes, the pressure gauges are pretty high for, well, it's always high when you get this part. It's one and done. Chance at a Super Bowl is going out the window, but not all pressure is the same for all of these teams. And so you got the Bengals and the Titans, the 49ers and the Packers on Saturday. You got the Rams and the Bucs and the Bills and the Chiefs on Sunday. What is the least amount of pressure?
Cincinnati.
I would agree.
Not even close.
I would agree. I mean, if you had to pick one entity within the Cincinnati Bengals who's under the most pressure, I would say it's got to be Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor has been, obviously this year has been incredible. Nobody expected them to do what they've done. But he has been the punching bag, basically, of this organization since he's been the head coach. Now, if there's an embarrassing showing this weekend, could have some ill effects, but he's not going anywhere regardless. So there's really not a lot of pressure on Cincinnati because everything you've done since week 10 has been more than expected. Heck, I would say you surpassed all expectations in the first 5 weeks of the season.
Your being here makes this a hallmark season for you.
Right.
I think one that's underrated is the coach on the other sideline.
Okay.
I've always been a Mike Vrabel detractor.
Mm-hmm.
Been impressive this year.
Mm-hmm.
You have no excuse to lose this game. None.
I would agree.
There is no excuse for you to lose this game.
I would agree.
And if you do, I think some uncomfortable discussions are going to have to be had.
Like what?
Are you the guy? Are you the guy? You come in as a 1 seed.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy in Nashville, specifically because of something the Titans just did that I'll talk about at the bottom of the hour.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lose this game against a young upstart team that's never been in the playoffs, I'm going to level with you. This game should not be close. Tennessee should run down their throat, and this game should never be close because they can get pressure with 4. I think they can dictate the pace of this game, but I can't get away from the fact that it will be. It will be because this is what Mike Vrabel does in the playoffs. You allow teams to stay way too close to you.
Mm-hmm.
You lose games that you shouldn't have. Do you remember Kansas City?
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have lost that game, but you did.
Yeah. Okay, I can see what you're saying. So this will start the narrative of can Mike Vrabel win in the playoffs?
Mm-hmm. And you can go into next week, and as long as you beat Cincinnati, you can go into next week and play the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
You can play Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
You can get demolished at home, and nobody will care. But if you lose to the Bengals, it's going to get loud. Is he just another Bill Belichick disciple that cannot win in playoff situations, can't win at the highest level? And I'll probably be the loudest one leading the charge.
Oh, I'm sure you will be, Mr. Detractor A number 1.
Yeah, I'm not a Vrabel guy.
No, you're not. I will agree with you. There is some pressure on him. I would put Tennessee and Mike Vrabel. I think there's the 5th most pressure on them. I don't think it's great. I mean,
I think there's virtually no pressure on the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a great deal of Mike Vrabel.
Right. Well, I mean, a lot has been made as the stat has circulated in every article you've read about this game, about Mike Vrabel and how great he is coming off a bye. 4-0 coming off a bye as the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. When he has 8 days or more to prepare for a game, he's 8-0.
And averages winning by like 19 points.
Right.
I think it was 18.2 is what they average winning by.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the stats I saw was that the average win was like in the 4-0 record was 20.5 points, but they beat the spread by like an average of 19 points. So the expectations are higher than they've ever been with the Tennessee Titans. I mean, since the Jeff Fisher years.
Cool.
Yeah.
Man, Jeff Fisher. Has there ever been a coach who the shine fell off that diamond any faster? I remember a time people talked about him as the best coach in the NFL.
Oh, I would argue John Gruden. The shine fell off that one pretty quickly in Tampa.
There were different reasons for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I always said it was stupid that it fell off in Tampa Bay. He won you a Super Bowl.
Agreed.
Say it. I know you want to say it.
With
Tony Dungy's
players. I mean, it's true, but I'm not going to, I didn't say it. You said it. I didn't have to fill in that blank.
I've always laughed at Tony Dungy gets credit for that, in spite of the fact he had absolutely zero personnel control.
Mm-hmm.
Rich McKay.
It was Rich McKay, yeah. Absolutely.
And yet, nobody ever mentions that. He's Tony Dungy's players. You mean Tony Dungy's players that he couldn't win a playoff game with?
Right.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. I look at this season, I go, so Tennessee did what they were supposed to do. They've already surpassed expectations because they lost Derrick Henry after the first 9 games, or first 8 games, or whatever it was. So the fact that they were able to hang on and still be the number 1 seed without Derrick Henry, the most brutal force in the NFL, I don't feel like this is going to be a major letdown.
And nobody will ever remember that.
Yeah,
they'll remember it as you had home field throughout the AFC playoffs, and you got beat by the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
That for better or worse, people still don't believe it.
Well, they will. After Joe Burrow's prognostication comes true that this is what we do in Cincinnati now, we win playoff games.
Oh, I mean, I think a lot of people see the future there.
Yeah.
It's their first time here.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. But 5 years down the road,
it's going to be ugly.
Right, but if 5 years down the road, Cincinnati's made the playoffs 4 out of the last 5 years and have made at least one run in the playoffs, I think the tenor of that is going to change. Like, oh, you lost to the Bengals in the playoffs. I think that'll put that to rest. But I mean, that's the future. For now, I could agree with you. There is going to be some pullback on that. I say they're about 5th in the pressure ranking right now for the teams that are left in the playoffs. Let's get just a bit outside, and we'll check more pressure gauges.
The Sports Tag.
Just a bit outside.
All right, here's the 411, folks.
All right, I admit I am not a wrestling guy anymore. I used to be in my younger years, fell out of it a long time ago when the storylines just got way too crazy. I've never seen the WWE backpedal on something so fast, and for good reason as well. So on January the 13th, the WWE filed for a patent, a copyright on the name Gunther Stark. That's what they were going to rename Walter. I don't know Walter.
Well,
he's NXT 2.0.
I have no idea who that is, but the fact you had a wrestler named Walter,
yeah,
that's something.
I mean, hi, I'm Walter, and get ready for the butt kicking that's about to come. But this guy is he's brought out as the ring general, and he's got this real military music coming out. This is the gimmick that they've come up with for Walter. And he won a match the other night, and after he won the match, they started to announce Walter has won the match. He interrupts the ring announcer and says, Gunther won the match. Well, it would only have taken a quick Google search to study the new name that you have chosen for this WWE rising superstar. Gunther Stark actually was the name of a Nazi U-boat commander back in World War II, who died in battle at the age of 27. Apparently, he was well known, and it was just very simple for somebody to go, Gunther Stark, how'd you come up with that name?
I did it earlier today.
Oh, no! That's not what you do.
Yeah, I don't. How in the world do you not discover that?
So they filed for the patent on the 13th, and they have now rescinded that. We're not going to continue calling Walter Gunther Stark. I mean, I get you didn't pour a whole lot of money into the branding of this guy, but still, you got to know better.
Yeah, here's my question. What are they going to name him now? Jeffrey Dahmer? The Tennessee Titans are doing something this weekend to ensure that their home field stays a home field.
Okay.
With the Titans getting set to host their second playoff game over the last 10 years, it shocks me that they have only hosted 2 playoff games in 10 years. The team is doing its best to make sure Nissan Stadium isn't overrun by Bengals fans on Saturday. Here's what they're doing. And I'm not going to lie, I'm friends with somebody in the Titans front office. I sent a text earlier that just said 5s.
Yeah.
You can't transfer the tickets until 24 hours before the game starts. As somebody that almost invariably buys my tickets on a secondary market, what does that do? If you bought tickets and somebody said, well, I can't transfer them until 24 hours out,
I'm going to think they're fake.
Bingo.
Yeah, I'm not going to commit to buying those.
You're going to think it's a scam.
Yeah.
So the thought is that when people see that, they won't buy the tickets, and you won't have any Bengals fans. A, because they can't play in their weekend. You have no idea where your seats are. B, people are going to think they're getting scammed. Now, if you buy them from a secondary ticket marketplace, whether it's StubHub, Ticketmaster, or SeatGeek, the 24-hour policy doesn't apply.
Right.
Except that it does.
How so?
The team has the ability to legislate things that happen on their tickets. So StubHub is not enforcing this. The only problem is that when the tickets are transferred, there's basically like a geofence on the tickets that if somebody tries to transfer them, it'll shut them down. So even if you try to sell them through StubHub, you're still going to be beholden to that 24-hour window.
Oh, wow.
That was a little loophole that I didn't know about until I asked.
Okay.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
I mean, that's a good way to cut down on the market.
That was, but good on you.
I mean, I was trying to roll it through my head like, well, Cincinnati, I mean, it's not that far away, so people could go to Nashville anyway and just hang out and wait for their tickets. But how many people are going to actually do that?
Have you ever been to Nissan Stadium?
I've been outside of it.
Yeah, it's not exactly a place you would do that because it's going to be very crowded.
Oh, yeah.
Hotel rooms are going to be at a premium. It is a brilliant marketing plan. And here's the thing. What does that do? There's another layer of this that I thought about earlier today. All right, so if you got all these people that have tickets that are trying to sell them on a secondary market that can't sell them to Bengals fans, what's that going to increase? Scalpers that are right outside the stadium because the stadium's right on the other side of the water.
Right.
So you're right there at Music Row. And if people are just hanging out and you see people with the signs that say, you need tickets, I got tickets. You could have random Titan fans that just go, hey, I'll go. And in we go. And now it is a blowout. There has not been a game in these playoffs that the Vegas narrative has changed on more than this one.
Really?
The Sharps money has started filtering in. It's almost exclusively on Tennessee.
I mean, I would agree with that. I think they should win this game, but Cincinnati's very, very dangerous. Now they have no pressure to win because we didn't expect you to be here anyway, and you're so young. It just doesn't really matter to me. The next team that's facing the least amount of pressure, I'm actually tied between two teams, and I don't know that you're going to agree with either one of them. My 6 and 7 in the pressure gauge are Buffalo and San Francisco. I just think the pressure is so much on the other teams in the playoffs, and I would probably say the pressure is less on Buffalo than it is on San Francisco.
I disagree with you vehemently.
You do. You think the pressure is very high for Buffalo.
Oh yeah, I would argue Buffalo is probably the team under the most pressure in the NFL.
I disagree fully because I mean nothing's going to change. Like Sean McDermott has gotten you to this point before he got you to the AFC Championship.
If you lose this game, you're going to lose both coordinators. This has a very our last ride all together kind of feel to it.
I mean, for the coaching staff.
I mean, that's rather important.
Yeah, but
there's a reason we talk about coaches so much.
Oh, I understand that.
I've never thought Sean McDermott's a great coach. I think he's a good coach. And it really helps that he's got a good coaching staff around him.
But
so
you think this
Brian
team
Dable.
craters if you lose your OC and DC?
I'm not saying they're going to crater.
Okay.
I'm going to say this is the Buffalo Bills. This is the second time that you've gotten your fan base really excited that this could be the year. And then you poo-poo against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's not going to play well. I'm just telling you, I know more Bills fans than I ever thought I would ever know. It won't play well.
Well, obviously.
Because Bills fans are really adamant that they're going to go into Kansas City and beat Kansas City. And a lot of them think it's going to go very similarly to the first time these two teams played.
I don't know about that. I mean, you got to remember that first game with Kansas City, that was in the middle of the can they get it on track thing. And they turned the ball over 4 times in that game. It was just the defense was awful. Later in the season, the defense turned it around, became decent. And I don't think it should be expected that you win the game. I mean, I understand why fans are all jazzed up about it, but I really don't think there's truly that much pressure on Buffalo to get it done now.
And I fully believe you're out of your mind.
You've got one of the youngest.
And the contract's getting ready to kick in.
Mm-hmm.
So he's getting ready to get expensive, which means you're going to see players filter out the door. You're probably going to lose Daboll this year. I think you're going to lose Leslie Frazier to the Bears.
But what high-paid players does Buffalo have that they're going to lose because Josh Allen's getting his money?
Most of them would be vets for right now. It's in that Mario Addison, Jerry Hughes, Star Latulele tier.
Which are all like bad contracts anyway.
And that's fine. But you're telling me you're going to be better without them?
Mm-hmm.
You really think the quarterback's salary is going to go up? You haven't been able to get through these roadblocks for 3 years, and now you think it's going to get better? It's an incremental growth.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bills have been in the playoffs 2 years in a row. Lost in the wild card round 2 years ago.
Yep.
Lost the conference title game last year.
Yep.
If you don't even make it back to the conference title game with the hopes that they had, oh yeah, that's going to get because it starts to feel familiar.
Yep.
You hadn't made the playoffs. They did not make the playoffs one time from 1999 all the way up until 2017. You've now done it 3 out of the last 4 years, and your expectations and your hopes and your dreams have elevated every single year. They were my Super Bowl team coming into this year, and nothing has changed. But if you lose to Kansas City, it's going to get very, man, I remember this with Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas-y. Of we could get there, but we couldn't win it.
Yeah. But you are facing Kansas City, the team that's been to 2 straight Super Bowls, 3 straight AFC championship games. I mean,
and is more vulnerable than they've been in any of that stretch.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
The thought that Buffalo is not the only entity in this playoffs that I could even begin to agree with you, we're in the ballpark of Buffalo, would be Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. That's the number one for me. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur, all of it, that's number one.
Aaron Rodgers is 2 to me for one very simple reason. He's been here. What's it? All right, so let's say Aaron Rodgers gets bounced by the 49ers, which is entirely possible.
Yes.
Does it change his legacy at all? No.
No, he's just always the guy who could get so far. Had won that one good year with Mike McCarthy, won the Super Bowl in 2010, and then other than that, it's playoff exits.
This will be the 10th time he's done it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really is 10 markedly different than 9? No. I would say he has the most to gain, but the pressure's there.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody already thinks he can't win big games anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what his record is in the playoffs? This kind of shocked me.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's pretty good. 12-9.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty formidable.
Yeah. But it's always you're 1-1 or you're 2-1, and like.
Oh, there's several 0-1s.
There are several 0-1s. But the 5 last trips to the playoffs, they've won at least one game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they don't win it this year. They don't win the first game this year. I think it is a little damaging.
And I don't. I think the damage is already done. We're to this will be, I think, if I remember correctly, and I don't have the stat pulled up in front of me, this will be the 5th time they would have lost on their own home field on the NFC side of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've done it that many times, what is anybody going to say? He's one of the 6th greatest quarterbacks that ever lived.
Right.
If you don't see that, I can't help you.
Well, and I think also the pressure turns up for Matt LaFleur, too. Matt LaFleur lost to the San Francisco 49ers in the first NFC championship game, then the loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year. You lose in the first round this year. That now becomes his stigma of great regular season coach, can't win it in the playoffs. He becomes Marvin Lewis?
Oh, stop.
No, I'm serious.
No coach in NFL history has ever won more games in their first 3 years than Matt LaFleur, and you're comparing him to Marvin Lewis. No, that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Now, I would say
if he loses Aaron Rodgers and then they become a losing franchise after that.
Well, it's if he grew wings and flew around, he would be the best bird that's ever coached in the NFL. Neither one of us believe that's going to happen.
No.
But it would make for a much more tumultuous offseason.
Yes.
If they lose to San Francisco, they will have the loudest offseason of any team in the NFL.
Agreed. Because it'll be all, is Aaron going to move on? This just isn't working anymore. Do we need fresh, a fresh face? Where do the Kansas City Chiefs fall in for you?
4.
That's where I have them.
I mean, to me, there's no pressure. You've been 2 Super Bowls in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of want to hand the number of teams that have done it 3 times in a row.
Right. Who's the pressure on in this game? Is there massive pressure on Aaron or on Andy Reid? No. Is there massive pressure on Patrick Mahomes or Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce? No.
Oh, here's another fun little note I jotted down since you mentioned we were going to be talking about this.
Yeah.
Andy Reid's the Aaron Rodgers of head coaches.
Okay.
The more you think about
the
that,
one championship year and then fall short.
1 year, and then you fall short every single year.
Mm-hmm.
And I have never seen the narrative on a coach change so much as Andy Reid. He was this guy for 15 years.
Yeah. All you had to do.
One run with Pat Mahomes, and now all of a sudden everybody forgets it. But nobody does that with Aaron Rodgers because it happened in reverse.
Right.
Rodgers did it early
Yep.
and then had a lot of failures down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Reid had a lot of failures, then had a success, and now seemingly people just forget that this was a guy that couldn't win in the playoffs for 15 years.
Right. I think the pressure's on the defense more than anything for the Kansas City Chiefs. And where do you place that pressure? You're going to have to stand up in the secondary. I guess that's where the most pressure would exist for me.
Well, the problem for Green Bay is that and I've heard this 2,800 times in the last 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
This is the worst team you could have lined up against in the playoffs.
Right.
Because what they do is what you don't do well. I'll be honest with you. I see how Aaron Rodgers' stat line, I feel like I could almost call it out.
Okay.
He's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 27 to 38.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere between 280 and 320. Depends on how they defend Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns, maybe an interception. I'll bet you I'm close.
Okay.
The question is, how can the defense adjust to Debo and George Kittle and all of the different elements that they do not defend well? Green Bay wins this game, the credit for me is most likely going to go to the defense and not to Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next up on the pressure gauge for me, we haven't talked about San Francisco.
There's none.
I don't feel like there's a lot of pressure
There's
here.
none.
Okay. Because you got Jimmy Garoppolo.
You almost missed the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, how in the world are you going to have a ton of pressure?
Right.
Did anybody talk about San Francisco as the best team in the NFC coming into this?
No.
No, it was you got Jimmy Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm.
How long till we turn it over to Trey Lance?
Right. My number 3 in the pressure gauge is Tampa Bay.
And that's insane to me.
You think there's no pressure here? Or little compared to other teams?
You have a for-hire quarterback that has come in and taken a broken roster and won you a Super Bowl. I didn't even write Tampa Bay down, if I was being honest.
Really?
No. They lose. Let's just for giggles, let's say they lose this game.
Mm-hmm.
Change anything you think about anybody? No.
Yeah.
Then there's no pressure.
Yeah.
If there's not going to be an outcry of what happened, by the way, this is what Tom Brady does. If you look back at his history, what he does is win a Super Bowl. The next year, you either get to the Super Bowl and lose, or you lose a game that you look and go, how in the world did you lose that?
Right.
Historically, that's what he does.
I just think there's a lot of pressure on Tom because you never know when it's going to be your last shot. I mean, I fully believe he's going to be back next year regardless.
Oh, he's like a cockroach. He'll never die.
Yeah, but they're another one. The pressure is mostly on the defense to step up, which it has been all year.
And see, to me, there's more pressure on the team that's playing than them. And it's
not I agree. LA's my 2. LA's my number 2. Okay, you went all in to win this year.
Mm-hmm.
You brought in Matt Stafford. You gave up 2 1s and a 3 and Jared Goff to get Matt Stafford in here and said he could win us a Super Bowl. You got Von Miller, you got OBJ, you made all of these moves, you got the hotshot head coach. Nothing's going to change. I mean, they lose this game, there's not going to be, calls for Sean McVay to be fired. Matt Stafford's not going anywhere. Nothing's going to change for them.
But this is arguably your best shot.
Yeah, your percentage to win is going to drop. That's the thing that changes. Like, you have gone all in on this season. You have to win this weekend. And I don't know that they can do it.
Oh, I do. Oh, I know they can. I know they can win.
Oh, they can win.
There's no doubt they can.
Oh,
win.
they can win. Yes. I mean, you get Matt Stafford performing like he did last week. If he could be that efficient, and maybe add in a few more big plays, sure, absolutely. So, your number one pressure gauge is Buffalo?
Oh yeah. With a bullet.
Wow.
They would be my 1, 2, and 4.
All right.
I'll slide Aaron Rodgers in at 3 begrudgingly.
My one's Green Bay. I think that's where all the pressure is right now for this weekend. But congrats to all the teams who made it. There can only be 4 left at the end of this season. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Mike Campbell here, serial entrepreneur with words from another happy payroll customer.
My husband and I started a business together, and I had no idea where to start when it came to payroll. And a friend of mine recommended Patriot, and I have not looked back since. It was extremely user-friendly. I was actually able to understand it and run everything extremely well. And anytime I've had a question, they have been so quick to answer and help me. I definitely recommend it to anyone who is looking for a payroll software that is easy to use, user-friendly, and really offers everything that you need when it comes to something that's beneficial for your business.
Visit us at PatriotSoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll free. That's PatriotSoftware.com.
Accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Are you 55 or older and haven't had a colonoscopy? Join a colon cancer screening study and you could earn up to $575.
I'll screen.
It's a study for a non-invasive way to screen for colon cancer from home. By joining, you can help advance the science of screening.
I'll screen too.
You'll just need to provide a stool sample, and a colonoscopy will be done through your own insurance. Enroll now and screen to help create a better future for all.
I'll screen.
I'll screen. Let's all screen for colon cancer.
Visit screeningstudy.com to sign up or learn more. That's screeningstudy.com.
iHeartRadio Earth is here with little tips for a healthier planet. It sure feels good to step into a warm car after letting it heat up for a few minutes. However, this practice wastes gas, increases emissions, and pollutes the air. Limit idling your car to no more than 3 minutes to save money at the gas station and improve air quality. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Hey, Carrie, we need that tax report by tomorrow. Hey, Bobby, get me that expenses.
For Hari's accounting firm, client growth is exponential.
I know we're a couple of accountants short.
He needs whip-smart accountants at whiplash speed.
Hey, so why aren't these receivables matching up?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Here in Beer City, we take homegrown seriously. And since 2012, Wicked Weed Brewing has been pushing the boundaries of the industry. They've not only created staples like the Freak of Nature Double IPA, the Lieutenant Dank, and Pernicious, but they also opened the first sour beer tap room on the East Coast. Wicked Weed has also supported our local community to the tune of $1.6 million with the Beers That Build program. Visit one of their 4 locations, schedule a brewery tour, or place an order for pickup or delivery. WickedWeedBrewing.com.
Coffee's for closers only. Get them the money. Then when you get the money, you get the power. That watch costs more than your car. Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
1-3 last night leaves me at 18-1 against the spread in 2022. This is a bit of a weird night in the NBA because I don't hate any of the lines, but we'll call it a value night. My first one, the Phoenix Suns travel to Dallas tonight to take on the Dallas Mavericks. Phoenix is 3 points better than every team in the NBA. I think DeAndre Ayton's going to play. He's questionable. I don't really care. I know Dallas has been better, but look at who they've played. This Phoenix team is too good. You're never going to catch them at 2.5, especially not against a team that I don't think is even in the ballpark of them talent-wise. I'm taking the value. If Ayton doesn't play, I could easily be wrong on this, but I'm taking the risk. I'm taking the Suns minus 2.5. Indiana travels to Golden State tonight. I'm not laying 11.5 points with Golden State, but there is something I will do. The over-under is only 216.5. Indiana is going to do everything short of deflate the basketball to keep this from going over. If this turns into any kind of track meet, they could get beaten by 30. I don't care that they beat the Lakers last night. The Lakers are bad, too.
Mm-hmm.
Cut Russell Westbrook. I was dedicated. I was getting that in the show somewhere. Just cut him outright. I'm not touching the line, but I will go under 216.5. Finally, the New York Knicks are home to the New Orleans Pelicans tonight. What do you think I'm getting ready to say? The New Orleans Pelicans are my favorite punching bag in the NBA. The Knicks are a 4-point favorite. The over-under is 209.5. These teams actually shoot out more than you think. In the last 7 meetings between these two, they would have beaten the over-under by double digits in all of them. I'm taking the Knicks minus the 4 because the Pelicans are putrid. But more than anything, over 209.5.
The money's out there. You pick it up, it's yours. You don't, I got no sympathy for you.
And, of course, you can take those over to betus.com, betus.com. Use the promo code SPORTSOCRACY, and they will give you a 125% deposit bonus when you use that promo code SPORTSOCRACY at betus.com. The North Carolina Tar Heels basketball team has, let's just say the other night was something
good
to forget.
That's a burn the tape.
That was a burn the tape game.
Oh, yeah.
You lose by 28 on the road against Miami. That's bad news. Jones Angel, the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, will join us after the Sports Center update to talk about the Tar Heels and the path forward in this depleted ACC. You know, I know Tar Heel fans love to play the blame game, but I mean, is this inexperience, new head coach? What's the deal? We'll talk with Jones about it coming up next right here on ESPN Asheville. Also, we'll play the fun game of Fun or Fatal Fact. And by the way, the uncensored third hour of this of the web show is going to be, of course, our favorite Threadbare Thursday, where we answer and talk about all the things you want to talk about. Plus, Jeremy will reveal his top 13 cornerbacks in this NFL draft.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Mostly cloudy and cold for us here tonight. A few flurries or even a couple of light snow showers possible. Still a bit windy with a gusty north wind at times, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Temperatures tonight into the mid-20s. Cloudy skies and colder for us on Friday with a few flurries or a couple of light snow showers possible. High temperatures, low part of the 30s. Teens Friday night, partly cloudy Saturday, Sunday, low 40s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples helps you get ready for a big year with big savings. Now get $30 in a Staples Store bonus when you spend $100. Limit 1 ends 122. Rewards members only. Bonus must be redeemed in stores. See staplesconnect.com/store bonus for details. Staples, the working and learning store.
Think you can handle another iHeartRadio True Crime Week?
With thousands of true crime podcasts to choose from, finding your next case to binge can be a little intimidating. Lucky for you, our investigators are on the scene with an entire lineup of podcasts to get you started. From stone cold killers to cold cases waiting to be cracked, including the new iHeart podcast, The MLK Tapes.
He never confessed.
Open the free iHeart app and search True Crime to start your next podcast obsession. iHeartRadio. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
A $4 risk-free and refundable deposit will get you started on your customized new vehicle only at Marion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Everyone knows you get a better deal down the mountain. Go to MarionCDJR.com or order in person on Worley Road in Marion.
Blitz that holiday debt and get $1,000 in your hand.
I just won $1,000.
Listen every hour from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. weekdays for your chance to win $1,000. Happening now.
Gold is near record highs, and Allen's pays the most for your gold jewelry, coins, diamonds, designer watches, and more. Take advantage of the high gold market price and get the cash you deserve today. Allen's Jewelry and Pawn, Patton Avenue, Tunnel Road, and in Cherokee.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
Titans Hendrickson, 14 sacks during the regular season, suffered the concussion. And last weekend's playoff win against the Raiders, he has been cleared from the league's concussion protocol. Packers home Saturday against the 49ers at Lambeau Field. ESPN football analyst Harry Douglas with Greene today shared his thoughts on the Packers QB.
If there's one quarterback I wish I would have played with in my career, you want to know who that one guy is?
I'm guessing.
Aaron Rodgers. And it's no knock on the guys that I played with because Matt Ryan was tremendous. Mariota was tremendous. I played with those guys. But I'm just saying, like, if I had an opportunity, hey, Harry, who do you want to play with? 1 year. I'm choosing Aaron Rodgers over everybody.
Harry Douglas today with Greene, Mike Greenberg here on ESPN Radio. Bulls are going to be without guard Lonzo Ball for 6 to 8 weeks. Ball, a torn meniscus in his left knee, set to undergo surgery in the coming days.
If you want to find quality new hires in the new year, post on Indeed. When you sponsor a post, you'll get matched instantly with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Now your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. WIN. That's WIN. Enter it on our station website now.
Log on now to ESPNABL.com.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingalls Supermarkets and Wicked Weed Brewing.
And welcome back in to the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Of course, heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and seen everywhere on the YouTube channel. Just go to thesportsocracy.com. Click on that live video link. Hit that subscribe button. Get in the chat as well as we do at 4 o'clock here on every Thursday. 4 o'clock hour, of course, brought to you by Wicked Weed Brewing. Check them out at wickedweedbrewing.com. Wicked Weed Brewing, drink different. We talk with the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, Jones Angel Jones. It was a rough night the other night. Tuesday night, we had the trip down to Miami and the Tar Heels. Well, there's a lot to unpack from that game. But we haven't talked to you in a little while. How are things going?
Doing well, Tank. Good to be with you. And, disappointing for sure. I think in a lot of different areas on Tuesday, that was a game that was for first place in the ACC. And not that they're handing out ACC championship trophies in mid-January, but, that was an important game. And so not just did Carolina lose, the Tar Heels lost in really ugly fashion, which if that had happened in a vacuum, I think you say, oh, well, that was tough day, not Carolina's day. Miami played great, hit a bunch of shots, and all that's true. I think I would be surprised if Miami could play any better than it did in that first 20 minutes. And yet, having said all of that, it's a larger concern for Carolina because we've seen that happen a couple of times. Most notably the Kentucky game, to a little bit of a lesser extent the Tennessee game, where the Tar Heels have just been completely taken out of the ball game, and particularly in Kentucky and in Miami, it happened pretty early in the contest. And so from the pure basketball standpoint, Tank, I think it's what you have learned is when the Tar Heels face aggressive, athletic, defensive teams, they have pretty quickly been taken out of what they want to do and haven't had a successful answer.
Right.
And so that's something that Carolina has to improve on, because teams they're not going to stop seeing athletic, aggressive teams. And so they've got to get better in that regard.
Yep. It was a strong start to the ACC play for Carolina, and then you just get smacked in the mouth by Miami. Nothing was working. The shots weren't falling. And then after the game, you had Hubert Davis come out and talk about how there's no leader on this team. Talk about that for a second. To me, it seems like for a coach to say that that's an indictment on the guys that are in that locker room.
Yeah, and that's not the first time that Coach Davis has said something similar this year. I think it's the first time that it got significant traction.
It hit home. It hit home
and
after
I
a
think
30-point loss.
It's a concern because I think that is something where, take anybody who's been involved with athletics, at some point the coach can only say things so many times, right? I mean, I think at some point that, I don't want to say falls on deaf ears, because I think that makes it sound a little more sinister than how I mean it. But I think at some point a coach can tell you to do something, as that coach should. Mm-hmm. But it hits home a little harder, I think, when your teammate calls you out. And when there is strong locker room leadership from the player side of things that makes sure that they hold their teammates accountable to play up to the standard that is expected. Now, look, not every game is going to be a great game. That everybody understands that, and that's not the concern. I think it's more what was very clear lack of giving the strongest amount of resistance possible to Miami as that game went along, particularly, once you got 10 or so minutes into it and Miami was playing so well and built up a big lead. And so for Carolina, obviously Coach Davis and his staff feel like part of what they are lacking is some of that accountability from teammate to teammate. I think that's got to be somebody who plays. It has to be somebody who has been around for several years and holds that amount of weight with his teammates, but also it's got to be somebody who has that type of personality. And so finding that player, as at least according to Coach Davis, seems like it's been a challenge to this point, and something that I think would greatly benefit the Tar Heels if they had it.
Is there an expectation of that leadership voice to come from one player? Because from the social media blogosphere world, everybody is putting that on Caleb Love. Does he have to be the guy to take the leadership role since he is, the point guard? And it's kind of how Tar Heel basketball has worked for a long time, is the point guard's always been the leader of the program.
Sure, and I think it's a valid point. And certainly he and R.J. Davis, to a lesser extent, somebody, two guys who have the ball in their hands a bunch, are guys that I think could play that role. If you go back in the sadly getting so far away machine, Tank, and think about the 93 national championship team, for example,
mm-hmm.
It was really George Lynch who was that guy. So not a point guard. But he was the one who really held everybody accountable and took a very strong leadership role. If I had to pick somebody from, and I'm just going through the championship years here, from 2005, I would pick Raymond Felton, the point guard, as the guy who set that tone and held guys accountable. If you go to the most recent national title in 2017, I do think it was Joel Berry and Theo Pinson, two guards who had the ball in their hands a lot. set that standard for Carolina and were older players. They were both juniors at that point. And so I do think it helps to be that point guard just because you're in a leadership role on the floor, so it can naturally carry over. I don't think it has to be that player. I do think it has to be somebody who is a strong contributor to the team, because I think it's nearly impossible to be a strong leader if you're not seeing time on the court. And so somebody who is in that role of playing major minutes for Carolina, and we all know who those guys are. One of those guys, if you're going to find it, you would think it would come from one of those players. Certainly Caleb is in that category as somebody that you'd like to see it from. I do think it is worth remembering that both Caleb Love and R.J. Davis came in last year without the luxury, and we talked about this a lot last year, Tank, without the luxury of having that older, more experienced guy at their position, even if they would have played over him, for example. Like, for example, Joel Berry, Nate Britt was there, and Marcus Page had been there, early in Joel's career. And so there were older guys who I think could help set that tenure or that tenor for them, which has not necessarily been the case for Carolina's current group. And so it's not an easy fix. I think it's easier to say than to do. But it is something that I think would be beneficial for Carolina for sure.
Yeah. A lot of people want to point to how we shot the ball in that Miami game, and you're going to have games like that. But the important thing is to find a way to get around that. Armando Bacot can't be the end all be all solution to win every game. I mean, he's fantastic, and the what's he now on a 7-game string of double doubles, something like that?
Yeah, it's 8 in a row. 8 in a row, because he even had a double double in the game on Tuesday.
Right.
But I think the first point's the key point. Shots aren't always going to go in, no matter how good a shooting team you are. And the Tar Heels are a very good shooting team. They came in to that game leading the ACC in 3-point percentage. But sometimes the shots just aren't going to go. You have to find a way to win when the shots aren't going in, which is exactly what you just said, Tank. And that's where what I was referencing at the beginning, I said it in a little bit of a different way, I think is the key. The Tar Heels have had some games, Kentucky and this one, where the shots weren't going in, and the other team was much more aggressive, and they made Carolina take tough shots. The Tar Heels didn't get great looks, couldn't get into their offense, and Carolina had no answer. The Heels have to have an answer on nights where they're not scoring 80 points. Carolina's defense, to me, Tank, is the biggest wild card for this team, because I truly do think at times Carolina's been really good within halves, within games, that they have been good, but they've also been really, really not good at times defensively. Right. And I think they, in my opinion, at times have let their offensive success dictate how hard they play defensively. And you can't do that, because the offensive success isn't going to be there every single time, and no matter how good you are. The defensive success and effort can be there every single time, no matter if the shots are going in for you or not. So that is something I am sure the Tar Heel coaching staff is aware of and has preached and will continue to try and do so for the rest of this season. Again, I do think Miami played extraordinarily well in that first half in particular, and hit some open shots, but also hit some difficult shots that kind of snowballed things. And yet, I'll go back to that point I made earlier. If this was one game, you'd go, that was kind of a unique scenario, one game, you got to bounce back. The bigger concern is that you've seen it more than once so far this season.
Right, and you've seen it against teams that are just flat out better. I think they're just
the best
flat
teams
out
that
better.
Carolina's played.
Yeah.
Right. That is the Tar Heels have proven they can beat teams they're better than. That is something this team has done consistently, and they have not messed around very much with teams that they are more talented than and have a very good chance to defeat. And then, I don't care how good Georgia Tech is or Boston College or whatever. When you go on the road in the ACC and can win convincingly, I do think those are good wins, even if the team is not as good as you are at this point in time. The Tar Heels, what they have not done is gone toe-to-toe with teams that they are equal with. Maybe the other team's in a better spot right now, and they just haven't been consistently competitive enough with those teams. Now, I also think that they haven't played many of those teams at home, which would benefit you, of course. The closest example that you have probably is Michigan and Virginia, which are two of Carolina's best performances of the season. So, yeah, I do think certainly playing in Chapel Hill would have helped in some of these instances. And having said that, the NCAA tournament isn't in Chapel Hill. And so you have to figure out a way to do it when you don't have 20,000 people screaming for you and making life difficult for the other team.
I completely agree with that. Now, we got another road game coming up on Saturday. Obviously, don't have to go too far. You just got to go over to Winston-Salem, take on this little old team called Wake Forest. They aren't messing around. Steve Forbes has done an excellent job with that team, turning it around and having all of the flux that he's had in his his transfers and all of that. I would say he's done one of the best jobs of a new coach in the last couple of years in college basketball. Talk about how tough that matchup's going to be at 8:00 coming up Saturday night.
Well, there's certainly a lot on the line for both teams, and for Carolina in particular, trying to bounce back, trying to get a quality road win. Two things that Carolina badly needs to do. It starts a really difficult stretch because remember that Virginia Tech game has been added on Monday, so Carolina is going to go Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. I mean, that's an NBA schedule that you're playing here for the next week, starting on Saturday for the Tar Heels. So a really busy stretch where you're playing 4 times in 7 days or 8 days, and an important stretch because that's a chunk of your ACC season that's occurring in 1 week's time there if you're the Heels. So really important in that regard as well. I agree with you about Steve Forbes. He's done a terrific job. He has been a good coach, was a good coach at East Tennessee before getting to Wake Forest, so he clearly knows what he's doing. I think his personality has fit well to kind of bring Wake back up, to give them an identity that they needed, that I think Wake had been missing for a while. I think he's done a good job there. Obviously the transfer of Alondas Williams, he's leading the ACC in scoring, so anybody could understand that that's a huge addition for them. And they're going to be excited. They have their best team in a while. They don't like Carolina very much. They understand that this is a big game for both teams because they're both in the upper half of the ACC, and this is one game that could be important not just now but later on in the standings. And so this is a really important matchup. And the most important thing for Carolina is the Tar Heels have to be able to travel, and by I mean literally travel to a different place with the same quality of play and intensity of competition that they have shown consistently in Chapel Hill. It has not been the same away from the Smith Center. And so they have to bring that because they're going to get Wake Forest's best shot, just like they got Miami's best shot, just like they get most teams' best shot because they're North Carolina. And that's the position that they are in, even if they're having a stretch here of this season where they're, a fringe top 25, top 30-ish type of team. And so that is the key thing. No matter who the opponent is, the key is that Carolina brings that level of execution and intensity with it when it goes somewhere other than the Smith Center. Yeah,
on the road at Wake Forest, Saturday night, 8:00. You'll hear the pregame start at 7:00 right here on ESPN Asheville. Dave Nathan, Jones Angel, Eric Montross, all your favorites are going to be on the call this weekend for that Wake Forest game. Good thing is, though, we get 3 home games after that. So,
Yeah, in a short amount of time. And, Virginia Tech, who is a scrappy team, they got a nice win in Raleigh last night. BC, who I think is better than Carolina made BC look when they played a couple of weeks ago. BC was coming off that long COVID pause, a tough set of scenario for them. They had a nice win. against Clemson this past weekend, and then NC State. And State is a wild card type of team. They can score a bunch of points, they give up a bunch of points, and got a lot of talented individuals on that team. So, all three of these games after the Wake game for Carolina are critically important, and particularly with them, A, coming in such a short amount of time, and B, all coming at home.
Well, Jones, we'll talk to you next Thursday when it's another Tar Heel time. We'll have 3 games to unpack when we talk next, and we'll preview that NC State showdown, which all of them you will hear right here on ESPN Asheville. Jones, have a great one, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Thanks, Tank. Talk to you soon.
You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We got a super chat to get to. We also are going to play the fun game of Fun or Fatal Fact about the NFL divisional playoff teams. Up next.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Mostly cloudy and cold for us here tonight. A few flurries or even a couple of light snow showers possible. Still a bit windy with a gusty north wind at times, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Temperatures tonight into the mid-20s. Cloudy skies and colder for us on Friday with a few flurries or a couple of light snow showers possible. High temperatures, low part of the 30s. Teens Friday night, partly cloudy Saturday, Sunday, low 40s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Interstates are moving incident and delay free. Patton Avenue southbound approaching New Leicester Highway, traffic stop and go. An accident reported here. Smoky Park Highway moving incident free. On the Charlotte Highway, no backups, and Tunnel Road moving well. Hendersonville Road, no delays. Sweeten Creek Road, incident free. On Brevard Road, expect no problems. Checking the drive time from Bent Creek to Avery Creek via NC 191 southbound. Drive time 9 minutes. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Marion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
A $4 risk-free and refundable deposit will get you started on your customized new vehicle only at Marion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Everyone knows you get a better deal down the mountain. Go to MarionCDJR.com or order in person on Worley Road in Marion.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. It's time to call QC Kinetic, non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients rave about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them keep giving you steroids, and don't let them tell you your surgery is your only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics. Do it now and imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics now. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
We travel to see what's around the bend and what we're capable of. And now Capital One's new class of travel card can keep up with you. Introducing Venture X from Capital One. With 10x miles on hotels and rental cars, and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel, and 2x miles on everything else you buy. Venture X, for those always asking, where next? Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Here in Beer City, we take homegrown seriously. And since 2012, Wicked Weed Brewing has been pushing the boundaries of the industry. They've not only created staples like the Freak of Nature Double IPA, the Lieutenant Dank, and Pernicious, but they also opened the first sour beer tap room on the East Coast. Wicked Weed has also supported our local community to the tune of $1.6 million with the Beers That Build program. Visit one of their 4 locations, schedule a brewery tour, or place an order for pickup or delivery. WickedWeedBrewing.com.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling?
Because I love football.
Back here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And you get down on the chat on the YouTube stream. Just go to thesportsocracy.com. Click on the live video link. Hit that subscribe button. That'll get you right into the chat. And you can super chat as well, where you can have your comments highlighted here on the program for a nominal fee.
I'm your huckleberry.
We got one from Colin. He says, "How Jeremy and Tank today? We're doing better. We're doing better than the last couple of days have been kind of rough." But he says, "What's the best fantasy lineup for the Chiefs and the Bills game?" I'm gonna leave that to you because I'm not good at these showdown things.
Devon Singletary is a must. I would say Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes would both be musts.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if I was going to play DraftKings in that game and I was going to go cheap, I'd probably take the two kickers. And that's not going to win. You would have to find the random player that's going to be really good.
Dawson Knox.
No, that's not going to be a random player that's really good. I'm thinking somebody like Jerick McKinnon last week. He'll be real popular this week and shouldn't be.
Right. So the random play, like lower than Emmanuel Sanders?
Isaiah McKenzie's the one I can't get away from.
Okay.
I could easily see the manufacturing touches for him.
I think you're Gabriel Davis guy. He can always fit into that category.
I always like Gabriel
You
Davis.
do. You absolutely love him. And we had another super chat.
I'm your huckleberry.
This one from Havoc. He says, you might not like Mike Vrabel, but his knowledge of the rule and time management skills are 50 times better than that of Mike McCarthy. He said, imagine Vrabel with the Cowboys.
That is a fantastic point, and I hadn't thought of that. He is pretty good at that.
Mm-hmm. But do you think it would be markedly different?
My hatred of Mike Vrabel has lessened over the years. I just would like to see him get this win so it can kind of cement where I have gotten to with him.
Okay, so he still has more to prove to you.
Well, he's going to revert. If they lose this, because I'm not going to say there's no excuse for them to lose this game, but this all sets up should be Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Experience goes to Tennessee. You're at home. Weather's not going to be too big of an issue.
Right.
I mean, any more than it is going to be in January. This lends to a win. See, this is the Raiders and the Bengals last week. Whoever wins this game, I would be less than upset if you found a way to get to a Super Bowl.
All right, well, let's talk about that Tennessee-Cincinnati game. That's where we'll start with the fun little game of Fun or Fatal Fact. And this could go either way. Either team, fatal fact or not. A.J. Brown, 13 games played this year. Do you know what the Tennessee Titans record is when he plays?
Very good.
It is 11-2. 8 games played by Derrick Henry this year. Do you know what their record is when Derrick Henry plays?
6-2.
It's 6-2. That is correct. So the question is, are those just fun facts, or does that actually give them a leg up in this game?
No, the reason that they are the 1 seed is because of how good they were at full health.
Mm-hmm.
The team they were the last 6 weeks of the season, that's not the 1 seed in the AFC. Just so happened that you'd built a lead. Everybody behind you kind of cannibalized themselves. This team at full health is very dangerous. The only problem is that they don't stay at full health for very long.
Mm-hmm.
A.J. Brown is one of those guys, and look, I love A.J. Brown. I believe I've said that enough times that nobody will ever question my A.J. Brown love.
No.
However, he does like to get dinged up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say, I shouldn't have said it that way. He doesn't like to. I'm sure he hates it.
He hates it.
But he tends to get dinged up. And if that were to happen in this game and then it turns into, hey, let's see what Julio Jones and Nick Westbrook-Akina can do. Oh, uh-oh.
Yep.
Who they think going to beat them Bengals?
And who's shocked to find out that Ryan Tannehill, when A.J. Brown is on the field, his completion percentage goes up by 25%, and he's got 5 more touchdowns thrown when A.J. Brown's in the game.
That's kind of like saying, well, if I drive a Miata to my house, it takes 12 minutes. If I drive a Ferrari, I can get there in 5.
Yep.
Of course you can.
Of course you can. On the Cincinnati Bengals side, the Cincinnati Bengals are 30th in the NFL this season in sacks allowed. They have allowed 55 sacks this year. Now, the Tennessee Titans finished 9th in sacks this year. Are those just fun facts, or is that a fatal flaw for the Cincinnati Bengals?
The stat of this game is quarterback pressures. If there was one stat that I could go full Marty McFly and go back to the future and bet this game knowing it, that's the only stat I care about.
Mm-hmm.
How many times does Joe Burrow get hurried? How many times does he get hit? How many times does he get knocked down? How many times does he get sacked?
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback pressure numbers all I care about. If the Bengals get pressure on Ryan Tannehill, he's going to become less effective. The same thing for Joe Burrow. If one of them does it and the other one doesn't, that team's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I mean, it's a very rudimentary, very basic way of saying that, but it's the truth.
Right.
If somebody gets pressure and somebody doesn't, the one that does will win this game.
And the good news for the Cincinnati Bengals is that they could apply that pressure. Trey Hendrickson has been cleared to play this week.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
All right, Jeremy, you've had a lot of stories over the years that you hate when people just do things for clicks.
I do. I hate clickbait articles, and I really hate when influencers do things that could harm themselves or others for Instagram or TikTok or any of the other socials.
This could potentially be the most disturbing example of this that I have ever seen. So back in November, on November the 24th, there was a YouTuber named Trevor Jacob. He's like an extreme sports guy. He's a former Olympic snowboarder, and he was apparently heading out, to one part of California to go do like hang gliding or paragliding and snowboarding and all of this. Well, apparently, according to him, while he was flying his private plane out there, his Taylorcraft BL-64, it stalled out, lost power, and he just pointed the nose at the ground. Hopefully, I guess at that point, you're going down. You just pointed at a place that ain't got nobody there, and you just bail because there's nothing you can do to save it. Well, the problem of this is that he is a YouTuber, and he always has his phone on. And when he did it, he strapped on his parachute, took his phone, and he filmed the plane crashing into the side of the hills in California. Well, once everybody got a hold of that on social media, the aviation sector of social media has been ripping this guy apart. That apparently everything that they think, this was staged. That he just staged a plane crash to get clicks. The FAA is now investigating, and there is a theory out there that they are going to get. Obviously, the FAA always gets to the bottom of plane crashes to find out what exactly went wrong and why. This could be major trouble for this dude if it turns out that he intentionally crashed his plane for clicks. First off, you got way too much money. You can intentionally crash an airplane for clicks on YouTube?
Well, I mean, here would be my number one question, and this kind of goes back to a joke that I've told on stage a number of times.
Yeah.
My number one question is going to be, how are you this rich if you're this stupid with your money?
I mean, maybe he was getting a new one next week and just, thought it'd be funny.
And there's also, you could have died, you moron. This reverts me back to a story that I remember telling in the bunker of a girl that was taking pictures for Instagram and fell off a mountain.
Yep.
Just, okay. Are likes really that important? Do you really have that much of a desire to be liked?
But imagine how badly this could have gone. Thankfully, nobody was hurt on the ground. He was not hurt himself, but he is being investigated in the FAA. They're going to get their man if there's a man to get.
Don't do crimes. My story is also about a crime, but the story doesn't have much to do with that crime.
Okay.
Many people over the years have claimed to know what happened to rapper Tupac Shakur.
Okay.
There is an LAPD detective, his name is Greg Kading, that has long said he knows exactly what happened to Tupac and is willing to tell anybody that will listen. There have been other celebrities that believe they know what happened to Tupac. It is a long line of people that believe they know what happened.
Okay.
And we have a new addition to that list. UConn head coach Jim Mora Jr. During the Chiefs-Steelers game Sunday, I've actually been trying to find a way to tell this story for 3 days, and this is just the first opportunity I've had. Rivals reporter Rob Cassidy tweeted on his Twitter. He's at Cassidy_Rob. Najee Harris once told me that Jim Mora told him he knew who killed Tupac during a recruiting visit, and I've never stopped thinking about that. Okay. If you had asked me before I read this story, there's a coach in college football that claims he knows what happened to Tupac, I don't believe I would have said Jim Mora in the top 127. There are 130 D1 college football programs. Jim Mora would have been at the very, very bottom of this list.
Right.
I have so many questions about this. How does that come up? Like, Najee, by the way, this happened while Jim Mora was at UCLA. He was recruiting Najee Harris, and apparently this just came up casually in conversation. How do you just casually say that in conversation?
Well, I mean, that's a perk for signing the scholarship. You sign that letter of intent. I will tell you who killed Tupac.
Somebody would say that to me, and I would immediately go, "You're a cop, aren't you?" That's the only explanation for that makes any sense to me.
Right.
Jim Mora might be the weirdest human in sports in the time I've been doing this. If you've never heard the interview between him and Doug Gottlieb, do yourself a favor. After the show is over, go to YouTube. Search Jim Mora, Doug Gottlieb. That's it. He's a weird dude.
Okay.
He's a weird dude. And kind of a jerk.
Well, a lot of weird dudes are.
And I would say it to his face, swear to God. I'd say it straight to his face.
So Jim Mora knows the secret. I feel like we need to hold his feet to the fire on that one. We need a public.
Where the reporter? I mean, now look. Okay, ESPN's in Connecticut. Somebody get to stores and ask. Okay, Jim Mora.
Yeah,
I'm gonna need some information.
Give it up. Wow, Jim Mora Jr. knows who killed Tupac.
The comments in our live stream are that's. I'm not gonna repeat any of them, but just know. That was kind of my point.
Right. What business does he have claiming to know that?
I'm trying to think of any person that could say that to me that I would believe it less. If Carrot Top looked at me and said, "I know who killed Tupac," I'd go, "I don't believe you, but I believe you more than Jim Mora."
Didn't that happen in Vegas?
Yes.
Yeah, see, Carrot Top lives in Vegas, doesn't he?
No, he lives in L.A.
Oh.
He did a headliner in Vegas, which I still...
Okay. I was like, maybe he was in Vegas at the time?
That's two completely different stories, but there's another question. Who goes to Vegas and goes, "Hey, what show you want to see tonight? Wayne Newton, Celine Dion, Garth Brooks, or Carrot Top?"
Well, the others are sold out, so I guess it's Carrot Top. I think I'd just rather go down to the Blue Lounge and see whoever random person showed up that night.
I fully believe that never mind. No good. You know what? Uncensored third hour. There is a joke with that. I will tell it in the uncensored third hour.
All right. Fun or fatal facts about the teams remaining in the NFL playoffs. We are at the divisional round. The Green Bay Packers. Can't say it.
Nope.
All
no,
right.
I can't. No, I'll be honest with you. Of all the stories I've ever told, this has been the most difficult it has ever been for me to not repeat YouTube comments.
And if you want to get in on the party, go to thesportsocracy.com, click on the live video link, hit that subscribe button.
And at least 4 of them would have gotten me escorted out of the building, including the one that almost made me spit my coffee on my computer.
The Green Bay Packers are 30th in the NFL statistically against the run. 4.7 yards per carry, allowing 4.4 yards on first downs, which could be ultimately important in their game against the San Francisco 49ers, who like to, they've got this little zone running scheme that's their bread and butter.
And has messed Green Bay up for years.
Yep. So, fatal flaw for the Green Bay Packers?
Yes. My fear with Green Bay is that you're going to have the pace of this game 100% dictated to you.
Mm-hmm.
My fear is that you're going to see Deebo Samuel in the backfield. you're going to see a lot of pre-snap motion. You're going to see a lot of George Kittle in motion. George Kittle does more as a blocker that is virtually never talked about than any high-end tight end I've ever seen. Ever. I mean, I'm going back to Tony Gonzalez, who was a great blocker, by the way. And I look at this and go, man, this sets up so bad for you.
Yeah.
Now, the last time I said this in a playoff game with Green Bay won by $11 billion. And I had wagered on the other side like I was trying to double my net worth.
Was this the Rams game last year?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. It is a major, major problem for Green Bay.
Devondre Campbell, to me, is the X factor of this game.
Okay.
Because the bad thing, and I've said this a couple times, the way he wound up in Green Bay is that he's got great twitch, but he's not overly fast. He's fast. He is faster in real life than he plays at times. And if he's late to diagnose things in that zone scheme, they are going to kill them with it.
Right.
So what happened with Dallas?
Yeah.
Leighton Vander Esch was literally all you have to do is change the name from Leighton Vander Esch to Devondre Campbell.
Right.
And you'll be in the same boat that we were in last week.
Elijah Mitchell appears to be a full go for this weekend.
I'd be remiss anytime that we mention Elijah Mitchell if I didn't say, I told you.
San Francisco has done something in the last few games that they had not done since 2015. In the last 4 games, there is not a tight end on that team that has gotten 30 yards receiving. What has happened to George Kittle, and is that a major problem?
No. Dallas is not a team that you do that easily against. That was not really the game plan last week. Their game plan last week was very simple. I want to keep Dak Prescott off the field. You're not going to beat me that way. And I want to monopolize the clock. I could easily see that being the game plan this week.
So they could have another game where George Kittle is just there and
but he's
still
not
win.
just there. He's there statistically. But he's doing things that I can't quantify with a stat that are insanely important.
Blocking and such.
George Kittle was basically a 6th lineman against Dallas, and it was huge. And when you go back and watch that film, it becomes very obvious that there were enough traps and wham blocks by George Kittle, of which the wham block is my favorite asset in all of football. There was enough of that I can't say that's exactly why you won, but it certainly did not hurt.
Especially helps out that new wide back position. Did you see they put a name to that?
Yeah.
The wide back position for Deebo Samuel. Interesting. That was my grandmother's nickname, actually. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
There's a reason I tell the jokes on this show.
Oh, stop that. TB12 hadn't had a lot of time to throw. Hadn't needed a lot of time to throw either. With under 2.5 seconds to throw, he has been doing really, really well. I mean, that's one of the things Tom Brady's great at, is getting the ball out quickly, finding his receivers. Last week is 25 of 31. Passes under 10 yards against Philadelphia. 22 of 28 when he had less than 2.5 seconds to throw. Is that just fun statistics, or is that spell real trouble for the LA Rams?
It's been the name of the game with Tom Brady for years. You get pressure on him, and he becomes way less Tom Brady. The problem that I see if you're Tampa Bay is the thing that has always been a problem for Tom Brady is pressure in his face. That's what the Rams do so well. They don't have to beat you off the edge. And if Tristan Wirfs does not play in this game, I'm telling you right now, the whole game plan for LA changes.
And if Ryan Jensen can't play either, that's going to be a problem.
If Ryan Jensen can't play, then my doubloon share just got aggressively more blue and gold.
Right. Because he's the only one that you would trust to try to stand up against Aaron Donald. And that's just not good. The Rams, by the way, on the other side of that, they allowed the highest completion percentage this year in the NFL against the short passing game. So
that's the way to beat them.
Yeah. So it's kind of Tom Brady's built to beat this team.
And they're built to beat him.
Yeah, if the offensive line can hold up. There we go again. LA Rams. Pass rush win rate. The number 1 in the league. 53% pass rush win rate.
Which is dumb.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not really versed in those stats, that is a dumb number.
I want to quiz you real quick. There are only 2 other teams in the league that had above 50% pass rush win rate this year. Can you name the other 2?
Pittsburgh Steelers?
Nope.
I would have thought T.J. Watts was
There's
so
one,
high.
there's one in the same division.
As the Rams?
Nope. As the Steelers.
Oh. Cleveland?
Cleveland was number 3 this year in pass rush win rate.
I don't know.
I think the other team's going to surprise you. It might even surprise the fans of the Carolina Panthers. They were number 2 in the league this year in pass rush win rate. Anyway, they are 53rd in pass rush win rate, or 53%. Number 1 in pass rush win rate are the Rams. They're also number 1 in run stop win rate. A lot has been made about Leonard Fournette possibly coming back to play in this game, and that's how the Bucs can, attack the LA Rams. Are those just fun facts, or are those real problems for Tampa?
Those are real problems.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams are a team that can beat you one-on-one. That's always been a problem for Brady. The thing about Brady is the way the offense is run is that they're going to out-scheme you. They scheme people open. It's the reason that guys like Julian Edelman and Danny Amendola became things. Because it is schemed open with rubs and all annoying things that Tom Brady does. Where that becomes a problem is where guys can win one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
You can double team an Aaron Donald and he still wins because then the pressure's in his face and all of the downfield things can't happen. Those are legitimate problems. Leonard Fournette has to get going in this game or Tampa Bay's going to be in trouble. Or Ronald Jones or Keyshawn Vaughn or whoever ends up playing running back for you.
All right, the Kansas City Chiefs. We talked a lot about this earlier in the season. Like, what are the problems with Patrick Mahomes? Why is he making so many mistakes? Do you remember why that was? It was because teams weren't blitzing against him. They were just bringing pressure with 4 and dropping everybody back to make him make mistakes. And that has been consistent throughout the season. When under pressure versus 4 or fewer rushers, Patrick Mahomes, he's 40% completion, 5.5 yards, under 5.5 yards per attempt. Is that going to be a super big problem against the Buffalo Bills?
To me, it's a problem because they can blend those two things together. Buffalo can get home with 4. And they can do it consistently, and they can throw pass rushers at you all night long.
Mm-hmm.
They have 6 legitimate pass rushers, and 4 of them are really young.
Yep.
To me, that's a problem. I look at that and go, that tends to make me believe that they're going to be in Mahomes' face. They can get very multiple. Where a lot of teams get into trouble with Kansas City is that one thing works, and they keep doing it until Andy Reid figures out how to beat it.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the reasons that you'll watch a lot of games with Kansas City where they don't score a lot in the first quarter and then they just pour it on in the second and third because there's no adjustment. Buffalo's so multiple, they can beat you in a multitude of ways. And I could easily see that being the problem for Pat Mahomes.
When sending 4 or fewer rushers this year, the Buffalo Bills, they get a pressure rate of 28%. That's good for 6th in the league.
I'll ask you a fun question.
Mm-hmm.
Since you have stats, I have stats.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Josh Allen's quarterback rating in a clean pocket versus under pressure, what is the difference between the two?
I'm going to say 20 points.
23.2%. Lowest discrepancy in the league.
Wow.
Pat Mahomes, 43.6. One of the highest in the league.
Yikes.
If you can get to him, you can affect him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Buffalo does that better than practically any team in this league.
Fun stat, 3 out of the last 4 games, the Buffalo Bills have not punted.
Yeah.
They have not punted. They did it twice against the New England Patriots, and they did it against the Atlanta Falcons as well. This offense is, they're just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of the best in the league. Kansas City's defense, can they hold up? But fun little fact here about they're one of the best teams in the league in third down conversions. They're one of the best teams in overall yardage and efficiency in the NFL in offense, and they don't punt. Fatal flaw for Kansas City?
If Buffalo can stay in front of the chains and the playbook stays wide open to Josh Allen, I don't see how they're going to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you can stop Devon Singletary on first down and they're living in 2nd and 9+, now it becomes different because now you can take away that element of Josh Allen. Where this team changes, and I'm probably going to say this 100 times between now and when this game ends, Josh Allen's different in the playoffs because he becomes much more willing to run in the playoffs. Makes this defense harder to handle, and it makes it harder to game plan.
All right, we got to put 5 on it. You got to put 5 on it once again. Last night went very, very well for Jeremy. We'll do that on the other side of the break right here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slow. Patton Avenue southbound approaching New Leicester Highway due to an accident. 240 westbound also now backing up towards Charlotte Street. Smoky Park Highway, no problems or incidents. On Hendersonville Road, a few light delays north and southbound between Biltmore Forest and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Sweeten Creek Road, incident-free. Long Shoals Road, no delays, and Airport Road moving well. Checking the drive time from Biltmore Forest to Fletcher via Hendersonville Road southbound. Drive time 15 minutes. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Marion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
A $4 risk-free and refundable deposit will get you started on your customized new vehicle only at Marion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Everyone knows you get a better deal down the mountain. Go to MarionCDJR.com or order in person on Worley Road in Marion.
For my small bookstore to thrive, I can't just sell books. So I created a radio ad at iHeartAdBuilder.com to tell everyone about our author events, our story hours for kids, and our amazing lattes. Now we're busier than ever. I'd call that a success story.
A custom radio ad from iHeart Ad Builder is the fast, affordable way to drive customers to your business. Put the power of radio to work for you. Get started now at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
Are you 55 or older and haven't had a colonoscopy? Join a colon cancer screening study and you could earn up to $575.
I'll screen.
It's a study for a non-invasive way to screen for colon cancer from home. By joining, you can help advance the science of screening.
I'll screen too.
You'll just need to provide a stool sample, and a colonoscopy will be done through your own insurance. Enroll now and screen to help create a better future for all.
I'll screen.
I'll screen.
Let's all screen for colon cancer.
Visit screeningstudy.com to sign up or learn more. That's screeningstudy.com.
Staples helps your business grow with custom printed sales and marketing materials. Now get 25% off custom printed labels, postcards, flyers, brochures, and more when you spend $60 or more. In-store only. Offer ends 1/29. See staples.com/print for details. Staples, the working and learning store.
So much of life these days is rushing around from one place to another.
I think you should take it for a spin.
Are you serious? Sometimes you just want to enjoy the journey. Ingalls. All the ingredients for family.
This week at Ingalls, select varieties 6 to 8 ounce Sargento sliced cheese, 2 for $6. Select sizes and varieties Dunkin' Bag or K-Cup coffee, $4.98 each. And select planted oat milk or oat milk creamer, 2 for $4. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now he speaks Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations so you get the product you're looking for. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
All right, we're back here on ESPN Asheville. Time for Jeremy to put 5 on it, or 25, or 50, or how much ever he wants to put on it. This is your game, Jeremy. You did well last night. Take it away.
2 of 3 last night. Got 3 picks tonight. 2 in college basketball. 1 in the NBA. I'll give you the one I've already given you. Phoenix is a 2.5-point favorite at Dallas tonight. You're going to see a trend here of I've got 3 teams in this segment that I'm getting a number on that I don't ever get this number on. Phoenix is really good at covering spreads, especially when they're low. I know Dallas has played better. I know there's a possibility of no Ayton tonight. I feel like if I knew Ayton was going to play definitively, this would be closer to 6.5. To me, that's too much value. I got 50 on it. Phoenix Suns minus 2.5. Next, USC is a 2-point favorite at Colorado. I am well aware that Colorado is a dangerous place to play. I also know that the last 2 games, a loss to Stanford and a loss to a vastly improved Oregon team, is why I'm catching this number here. USC is too good defensively to be laying this low of a number against Colorado. Colorado doesn't score easily. They don't have the kind of talent that got them to the tournament last year. I understand Colorado's a tough place to play. USC's on a slide. They need this game. I got 50 on it. USC minus the 2 at Colorado. Finally, I got 50 on it for a third time. Purdue is a 3.5-point favorite at Indiana. Indiana is good. I'm not disputing that. 3.5 is not enough of a number. Purdue has 2 bigs that they can throw at Indiana to keep them from scoring in the prodigious way that they have to be as good as they usually are. Indiana hasn't faced many teams that can do that. Purdue can. I got 50 on it. Purdue minus 3.5 at Indiana.
All right, you started this little venture at the beginning of the year with $500, and you're up to almost $600 now.
I've buoyed right around $600. Very, very thankful for a close cover last night. I feel really good about these 3. I think this could be a 3-0 night with 3 road favorites. I'm a big fan of road dogs. This is a rare trifecta of road favorites.
If you've bet with Jeremy throughout this little experiment here, $599.09 is what you got right now in that bankroll. Use the promo code Sportsocracy at betus.com and get a 125% deposit match on whatever you put in. We've got the happy hour coming up on the YouTube stream in just a matter of moments. Top 13 NFL draft cornerbacks.
Very good position in this draft. My 13 is a guy that I think can come in and start right away.
Wow. So there's that many immediate impact corners in this 2022 NFL draft. All right, we will hear the top 13 coming up in the web-only happy hour. Be sure to go to thesportsocracy.com. Click on that live video link, hit the subscribe button so you can get in on the chat. We do it each and every day here, the happy hour. Plus, it's Threadbare Thursday, so anything and everything you want talked about, ask the questions in the comment section, and we will discuss it.
Yesterday, we did my first round of my latest 2022 NFL mock draft.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few surprises. There were a few quarterbacks. None of them went nearly as high as you would like them to. This is going to be an interesting draft in that element. There are several guys that are going to be beauties in the eye of the beholder. Malik Willis went 19 to the Philadelphia Eagles. He was their 3rd first-round pick. A lot of people thought that was strange, but the more you think about it, the more it makes a lot of sense.
That seems to be the trend going right now for the mock draft prognosticators at this point. Join us for the happy hour. Be back here on ESPN Asheville tomorrow at 3. We'll play Beat the Chief and get you ready for all of the action in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Mostly cloudy and cold for us here tonight. A few flurries or even a couple of light snow showers possible. Still a bit windy with a gusty north wind at times, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Temperatures tonight into the mid-20s. Cloudy skies and colder for us on Friday with a few flurries or a couple of light snow showers possible. High temperatures, low part of the 30s. Teens Friday night, partly cloudy Saturday, Sunday, low 40s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
This report sponsored by Independence Harley-Davidson. Come gain your independence. Ring in the new year with a rumble. The all-new 2022 models are rolling into Harley-Davidson of Greeneville. We are your upstate Harley dealer and have the largest inventory in the upstate, so visit us today at 30 Chrome Drive in Greeneville, online at upstateharley.com.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slow. Patton Avenue southbound approaching New Leicester Highway due to an accident. 240 westbound also now backing up towards Charlotte Street. Smoky Park Highway, no problems or incidents. On Hendersonville Road, a few light delays north and southbound between Biltmore Forest and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Sweeten Creek Road, incident-free. Long Shoals Road, no delays, and Airport Road moving well. Checking the drive time from Biltmore Forest to Fletcher via Hendersonville Road southbound. Drive time 15 minutes. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples helps your business grow with custom printed sales and marketing materials. Now get 25% off custom printed labels, postcards, flyers, brochures, and more when you spend $60 or more. In-store only. Offer ends 1/29. See staples.com/print for details. Staples, the working and learning store.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
That's the sound the bear makes.
It's like I took the wrong week to quit drinking.
We gotta recharge your Brave batteries. These tomatoes aren't even ripe.
You are one pathetic loser.
I reckon I'll have me some of the bacon.
Good. Let the hate flow through you.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A Democratic Republic of Sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy. We are in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene with you. Thanks, everybody, for hanging around for the happy hour today, where we will unveil Jeremy's top 13 cornerbacks for the 2022 NFL Draft. Plus, it is Threadbare Thursday, so all of your topics and questions, all of it answered right here. Fire away in the comment section. All right. So that was interesting. I walked back in the studio here, and Jeremy, you just decided to play every soundbite you have. Mm-hmm. Nice, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was talking about the awkward silence, and I forgot to connect the board, so I couldn't play music. So I went full. Yeah. I mean, it is happy DJ day.
It is.
So
it is.
So I remixed some sound effects.
DJing with the sound effects. Okay, mm-hmm. I like that. Oh, excuse me. All right, so are you ready to unveil your top 13 of the cornerbacks in the 2022 NFL Draft?
These are all on the same graphic. So
okay. No suspense given, although you got Ahmad Gardner, old Sauce Gardner at number 1. That still kind of surprises me.
And I don't understand why. I really don't. I mean, what more do you want? What more do you want from a corner than what Sauce Gardner gives you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's not the greatest tackler. Well, he's 6'3" and he's thin. You know what's going to happen? He's going to go into an NFL strength and conditioning program, and he's going to be unfreaking believable. He's a little grabby. Oh, whoop-de-friggin' do. He's 6'3". He doesn't run a 4.3. Let me say 6'3" one more time.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much that you can ask for. He never gave up a big play in college. He's overly aggressive, but, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I never thought it was problematically aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were some penalties, but I thought most of them were nonsense.
Which most of them are going to be nonsense at the next level anyway.
He shuts down high-end receivers, in spite of the fact there is a huge talent deficiency around him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and some people say, "Oh, he had Kobe Bryant on the other side." Yeah, Kobe got picked on. Sauce didn't. So what does that tell you? Teams looked directly at this team and went, "Well, we're just going to throw at him."
Right.
I mean, and I'm not trying to undersell Kobe Bryant. I got him at 13.
No, it's just we can never, we'll never go to the side of the field that he's on.
No, because it's a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really bad idea.
Well, and I guess the surprise comes more from the one corner that has been touted the most in this 2022 draft class has been Derek Stingley Jr. for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm. And look, Derek Stingley's going to run fast. I mean, he's going to be in that low 4.3s, mid 4.3s range. The only problem is he lives hurt. And that I can't get behind that.
Mm-hmm.
The best tape on him was multiple years ago. And I just never saw him as the one guy. I never saw him just be that no doubt shutdown. He's also a very bad tackler.
Mm-hmm.
Very bad tackler. And I think he's kind of scheme specific too. A lot of people keep scheming him to the Jets. Why in God's name would the Jets draft him? He never played zone ever.
No.
I don't know what you can do in zone, which the Jets do predominantly.
Mm-hmm.
I have a funny feeling that Derek Stingley is going to fall. And I'm not saying I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's going to fall into the 20s.
Right.
But do you realize how good a corner has to be to go in the top 5?
Mm-hmm.
And I keep seeing him there. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I saw quarterbacks manipulate him. And I mean, look, he's still my number 2. So it's not like I'm sitting here telling you, oh, he sucks.
Yeah.
No, he's the second best corner of this draft. To me, Ahmad Gardner's a no-doubter. He's as close to a no-doubt as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Cunningham said in the comments, Devontae Smith killed Derek Stingley. He sure did. And you know why? Because it's going to come to me. It's Gonna come to me eventually.
Player,
quarterback,
position, Mac Jones.
Mac Jones, Jesus. It's because Mac Jones was just manipulating him sideways.
Right.
And I'm not gonna lie, I watched a lot of that tape. I did. I watched a lot of that tape, and a lot of it really started to bother me. And I'm trying to say that I haven't completely changed my opinion on him based on one tape. It sure as hell didn't help.
Mm-hmm.
It was ugly tape.
Yep. Tyler also bringing up the fact that, Sauce Gardner did a pretty good job against Jameson Williams in the CFP semifinal.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Yeah. Number 3, and again, the colors don't mean anything other than these are guys that Jeremy wants to highlight.
These are guys that I'm either higher on than the industry, or I have a spicy take on them, or whatever the case may be.
Jermaine Waller out of Virginia Tech.
I love this kid so much.
What is it about him that you love so much?
He's ball hawk. And I mean, he's probably the best one in this class. If Evan Doyle's around here, he's our resident Virginia Tech guy. I think Jermaine Waller's the guy that winds up in the first round that people go, wait, where did he come from? My biggest knock on him, he's really thin. He's 6. I think he's somewhere in the 6'2.5", 6'3" range. He weighs about $170. He needs an NFL strength and conditioning program badly. But I can't teach you to be so instinctual around the ball. And he is, without a doubt, the most instinctual around the ball player in this class. He is if somebody in this class turns into Darrelle Revis, I would say it's Jermaine Waller. You're just petrified to throw at him because he's got unbelievable hands. Played at Virginia Tech in the ACC. Well, I'm going to be real honest with you about something. If every quarterback in America had declared in this draft, Stephen Tao called me Forgetstradamus in the comments, and that's pretty funny. Yeah, it's been a long day. Okay, hadn't slept in like 8 days, so looking a little worse for the wear. Not exactly clicking on all cylinders. If every quarterback in America had declared in this class, the ACC would have had 5 go in the top 15 among quarterbacks.
Right.
Is there the no doubt number one? I mean, I'd argue Kenny Pickett and Sam Howell, but there were issues around them.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the all ACC teams, yeah, there were a lot of votes for quarterbacks because there were a slew of them that were very, very good. And I haven't even mentioned Brandon Armstrong yet.
Right.
Who was an elite level college quarterback.
Yes.
So Jermaine Waller's the guy that I'm going to be higher on than the industry because to me there's just a huge line of demarcation once you get past Sauce Gardner and Derek Stingley. Once you get past those two, now, yes, there are a lot of starters, but there's not guys that I go, okay, you're going to be the dude. You're going to be a bad man. You're going to be a high-level one.
Right.
And Jermaine Waller, I think, has the potential to do that.
All right, he is at number 3 on the top 13 cornerbacks.
Oh, by the way, one thing I forgot to mention about Jermaine Waller, he's real fast. Real fast.
And he comes in at number 3 on the top 13 cornerbacks list. Number 4, Andrew Booth Jr. from Clemson.
This is a guy that there has been a lot, and I mean a lot, of disagreement on.
Mm-hmm.
You will see him range from number 3 to, I think I've seen him as low as in the back end of the teens. The good's really good. The goods no doubt are good. They're either mental lapses or you get too risky, you take too many chances. And that's one of those things that's really hard to figure out on film. Are you doing it or is it being schemed that way? If it's being schemed that way, all he has to do is get out of that scheme, and all of a sudden that's not a problem. I had Andrew Booth going to the Eagles. I love him coming in as a 2 because I think he is a guy that can come in and start immediately as a 2 and be a high-level impact kind of guy. I just don't – I'm really curious to – and I said this when we did the mock draft yesterday. He's the guy in this draft that I would love to see somebody hand a dry erase marker to and go diagnose this play because I really want to know how you diagnose film.
Mm-hmm. At one point in the season, I got really excited. There was a projection that he could be hanging around for my Buccaneers at the end of the first round, but he ain't going to last that long.
That's not going to happen.
That guy, I mean, his great plays are really, really great.
The high level's really, really good. And some of the, he got cooked in coverage. He didn't necessarily get cooked. There are times that he doesn't play the ball particularly well. So, I mean, there are things to not like, but, I mean, once you get into the fours, there's going to be flaws on everybody. I'm going to have a flaw on every person that comes in here.
Right.
Andrew Booth's top end is better than the vast majority of them.
All right, at number 5 on the top 13 list is Trent McDuffie out of Washington.
I'm liking this kid more and more as time goes on. He's short. So he's not, the big physical. And you'll learn that that's something that I like a corner that's bigger. Trent McDuffie's somewhere in that 5'10", 5'11" range. But he's got good build. He's an unbelievably good tackler. For a kid that's not built particularly well, he's a really, really good tackler. Very, very fast. He's not going to get beat over the top. Ran a 4.4, I think it was a 4.45 or a 4.47 in high school. That was 4 solid years ago. And I would say he has gotten nothing but faster. Very fluid. This is another one that gets too aggressive at times. And I can kind of rationale that because the corner that was on the other side of him is on this board as well. I think some of his deficiencies could be Jimmy Lake problems. There's also some tape of bigger receivers really having their way with him. So my fear is, all right, so I'll use your division for an example. Let's say he goes, I'm going to use a team that's going to need a corner. Let's go Atlanta Falcons. And now he has to play Mike Evans and Robbie Anderson and whoever the receiver that New Orleans drafts to put on the outside opposite Michael Thomas. I could see that not being a great scenario for him. Receivers that are over about 6'2" and a half, 6'3" have really done damage to him. The reason Trent McDuffie's here as opposed to some of the other guys, I think his floor is high-end slot guy. He could be a top 5 in the NFL slot guy, and I think he could do it within 12 calendar months. No doubt that's a guy that plays all the time, and your slot guy's just not going to mess with him. Those shifty little slot receivers, he's going to eat them alive.
All right, so that's the top 5 of the top 13 cornerbacks list. We got a question in the comments. What quarterback should Tampa Bay draft to replace Tom Brady in the 2029 draft?
It's Kyle Trask for when you're going 2-15, and I cannot wait.
Why do you have to be that way? Why do you have to just wish?
Your fans outside of Ron George are really annoying. I have to give Ron credit because he's the least annoying Bucs fan I've ever met. We talk damn near every Sunday, and I have never looked at my phone and gone, fuck you. Never. I've never done. He's the only Bucs fan I know that I've never done that to.
Nice. You do it to me routinely.
All the time. Most of the time you don't hear it. But if I don't respond, that was going to be my response.
Right. Yeah, we did draft a quarterback last year. It's Kyle Trask, and that's going to be fun. When Tom Brady leaves and we end up being a 6-win team
normal
again. Yeah, we'll be a 6-win team again. All right. Number 6 on the top 13 cornerbacks list is Roger McCreary out of Auburn.
This is a guy that I really like the tape on him. I'm not sure what his ceiling is in the NFL. He is, he's built to play corner in this league. He is unbelievable in coverage, especially when it's press man. It's every other concept that kind of bothers me. Height, weight, speed's phenomenal. He's 6 foot, about $195. Probably running the 4.4 range. His arm, he's got got little tiny arms, just little short little baby arms. Little T-Rex can't touch myself arms, and that bothers me. Other than that, there's not. I mean, he needs an NFL conditioning program. He needs to get stronger because I'm afraid big physical corners are going to take advantage of him because he is so aggressive in press. There are some people that think he could play free safety. I think that's stupid because I think you're taking away what got him here. That would curtail the aggressiveness problem of he's overly aggressive at times. There's tape where you watch him just get cooked because he bit on a double move, bit on a head fake, and that could get taken advantage of in the NFL. The other problem with him is injuries. Mm-hmm. He has had a slew of injuries in his career, and I always get really nervous with guys that do that because you get to the NFL, everybody's bigger, faster, stronger. The only thing is he played in the SEC. So I'm not going to hammer him. If he played at Cincinnati, then okay, now that's a bit of a problem because you don't get many, let's go Memphises in the NFL. So, I mean, the fact he did it in the SEC bothers me less. There's a lot to like with that kid.
Yep.
A lot of raw potential. And, you'll hear me say this about a couple of the corners in this draft. I'm not sure he was coached particularly well. I've said routinely, I don't love the staff at Auburn. I didn't love the previous staff at Auburn. And there's been a lot of turnover. And I could see there being some unlocked potential in him that's, that's pretty damn good. Not as much as the next guy.
Not as much as the next guy?
But his floor is much higher than the next guy.
Okay, now this is the one. This is the one that you had projected in your 7-round mock draft that we revealed the first round yesterday. Going to my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kaiir Elam out of Florida.
The raw is good. He's pretty good in the red zone. Height, weight, speed are phenomenal. He doesn't do anything well. That's what really bugs me about watching tape on him. He doesn't do anything well. Gets burned in press, gets burned in zone. And he's another one that I feel like is going to run like a 4.4 at the combine, and I watch him, and it looks like he runs a 4.6. It never makes me nervous if you run a 4.6, but you play it. I projected you at 4.4. Really bothers me when it's the other way around. Because it means you don't play at the same speed. This is a guy that needs to not be immediate impact. I would love him in Tampa. I would love him in Baltimore. Somewhere that he can go and be a replacement for a guy a year from now. And he plays as the fourth corner for his rookie year. I'm afraid that a team takes him too high, Philadelphia, and he has to play immediately, and he's going to just be scattered, smothered, and covered. Because like I said, he doesn't do anything well. There's nothing that jumps off the film that I go, yeah, you're great at that. No, you're not.
Doesn't cover well, doesn't man well, doesn't really tackle all that well.
There are times he does all of it well, and then there's times that you go, what exactly were you looking at?
So it's more inconsistency rather than he can't do those things well.
Very, very inconsistent.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Kaiir Elam at number 7, and then you got Josh Jobe at Alabama at number 8.
The speed bothers me. The Alabama thing bothers me. But he's a usable third corner right now. I think this is a guy that if Tampa didn't take a corner in the first round and Todd Bowles stayed around in Tampa, he'd be a perfect fit for you because he would go right into one of those Todd Bowles heavy zone defenses and immediately be a contributor. If you ask him to play man, you're screwed. He's also another guy that I could see playing safety. If he played, because that takes everything he does well and takes away what he does poorly. No, is he a good enough tackler to be a safety? That I don't know. Because he takes some really pathetically bad angles. Angles as a safety and angles as a corner are different. And I could see that. But he's one of those guys that if I'm taking him in the second round, I'm probably projecting him to be a safety.
Yeah.
I'm going to play him as a single high, cover one type of safety where your zone, the zone aspects of your game can be magnified, and I can use that right now, and I don't have to worry about you getting just absolutely abused. He also can't get off a block to save his life. You throw a kicker at him, and he is bye-byes, which is obviously a problem for a safety.
Right. But as a corner, you say he will be best served by sitting and learning.
He'll be best served by being in a heavily zone scheme. If you ask him to play man initially, it's not going to go particularly well for him.
Okay.
But he's very safe. He's going to be in the league for a long time. I just don't know that he's going to get any better.
Mm-hmm.
And that always makes me nervous.
Okay. That's another Jim Mora comment. And
There have been a lot of
comments.
Wow. There have been a lot.
Wow.
Some of which I would never say out loud.
Then you got back-to-back Alabama players here. Number 9, Jalen Armour-Davis.
So this is where some of the things I say get a little confusing. If you told me one of the Alabama corners became a really good corner in the NFL, I would bet the farm it was Jalen Armour-Davis. If you told me one of the corners at Alabama washed out of the league in 2 years and it was a completely blown draft pick, I would also say it was Jalen Armour-Davis. There is some bad film on him. And when you're doing that in a Nick Saban defense, that's kind of bothersome. The raw skills are there. He's one of the only players I think I've ever seen at Alabama that I go, maybe you didn't get the most out of him, because I think he would be better suited in a slightly different kind of scheme. Another guy I would like to not have to play early. I don't want to see him play super early. Unfortunately, I think he's going to be drafted in a position that he has to, which sets him up. That could potentially set him up for failure.
Right. Well, I mean, typically, if you're going to be drafting a corner high in the draft like this, I mean, you're going to want them play early. This is the nature of the beast. Number 10, a Caleb Evans from Missouri.
This is another one that you see a wide variety of takes on. He's real tall, and he's pretty fast. He's extremely aggressive. He's the best tackling corner in this class. He's a very modern NFL kind of corner.
Okay.
But he's not great in coverage. He's not crazy fast. Technique in man's not always really flawless, but you don't ever get away from him. Changes directions quite nicely. This is going to be a weird word to say about somebody that's this high of a draft prospect. He's super coordinated.
Okay.
There are a lot of corners that you watch tape on them, and it's like their hands, their feet, and their eyes work completely independent of each other. He doesn't. His are always in lockstep. And I think his ability to tackle is going to make him very valuable. I'd love to see this kid in Tennessee. I try to project where I would love to see guys. Caleb Evans is a guy I would love to see in Tennessee, because you put him in. This is going. I think he could be a really high end Janoris Jenkins. He could be a really high end Jackrabbit Jenkins. That's kind of my comp. I don't do comps very often because I think they're very stupid, but he doesn't press well. That needs to be said. That for somebody that's as physical and as aggressive as he is, he doesn't press well, which makes it you become very scheme specific. You put him in a drop zone scheme, and he's going to look a little less than ideal, and it's not going to take long for it to happen.
All right, that's the top 10 wide receivers. We don't stop at the top 10, though. Jeremy's got to get 13 in there because that's his lucky number.
I have an obsession with the number 13.
He does.
If I can sue me.
He does. So at number 11, this is where you've got the other Washington corner, Kyler Gordon.
He's one that there's not a ton of discrepancy on. Pure coverage skill, he's one of the best corners in this class. Problem is, I don't know that he could tackle me. And that gets kind of problematic. There were a lot of times at Washington that I watched him do everything perfectly. Played the ball well. Another guy whose feet and eyes work in lockstep together. And then he blew the tackle.
Yep.
Like guy catches it. It's a great catch. He blows tackle, and there he goes. Bye. I don't really know what to do with that, because I feel like teaching a guy to tackle is not overly hard, especially when they've got, his measurables are not outrageous. He's got a very stereotypical corner build in the NFL, about 6 foot 205. He does a lot of things very well, but he's going to have to learn to tackle. And I would like to see more burst plays from him. There were a lot of times that you did everything right and guy still caught it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of unsettling. But he could be a number one corner. He could be a number one corner in the NFL.
All right, tell us about number 12, Tariq Castro-Fields from Penn State.
He jumps off tape. The big knock on him, and it's going to be the knock on a slew of guys that come out of Penn State. They had so many damn players on defense that they cover each other. You never get a real good read on deficiencies because all of them are so damn good. They're probably going to have 7 guys off their defense drafted in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a slew of them.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy, very stereotypical build, not a great tackler. And by not a great tackler, I mean he's just flat out not good at it. Doesn't get off blocks well, not going to be any form of contributor in the run game. He strikes me as a nickelback. Like he's a guy that's going to come in very obvious passing downs, and you're going to have to drive him. There's times they got very lazy in coverage, going through the motions, and it didn't always lead to bad things, but you were playing in the Big Ten. There's not an overwhelming number of guys that are just going to beat you like a kettle drum in the Big Ten. In the NFL, some of those things, a quarterback's going to see that. They're going to lull you to sleep and going to get your ass burnt. And that makes me a little nervous with Tariq Castro-Fields.
All right, and coming in at number 13. So you got Cincinnati at 1. You got Cincinnati at 13. Kobe Bryant, the guy who actually who actually won the Thorpe Award this year.
Yeah, and he got thrown at a lot because teams did not want to throw at
Sauce Gardner. Yeah,
he's slow. That's the thing that makes me really nervous. He's slow. He's got a great build, pretty good tackler. He will be a 3-down corner in the league. The problem is he's so slow. I mean, I can see him running a 4.6.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the things he does are very technically sound, and they look very good. But good God, you're slow. You're slow by NFL standards, and this is something you'll hear me say a lot on draft night. He opens his hips a lot because he's trying to make up for it. When you see guys do that, that means one of two things. They're either lazy in their technique, or they're very scared that you're going to run in a straight line by them. And that's what it strikes me with him, is that he knew if he was lined up from a track star kind of wide receiver, he opened the hips too early, and that leaves you vulnerable to in cutting. Think of what Washington does offensively. San Francisco, they would abuse this kid as it currently sits because they would just run 12-yard in cuts constantly. Because I know you're going to open up, and as soon as you open up, now you can't recover to the move. That's obviously a problem. The natural gifts are certainly there. You will hear some people say that he's better suited as a safety, and I think that's stupid. I will agree with that about some guys. This is just not one of them. I feel like a lot of evaluators, the first thing they do is they look at a corner that's not overly fast, and they go, oh, let's put him in safety. This is not Madden, you dumbass.
Right.
That's not how this works. That's a completely different skill set.
Right.
So I'm not in love with that, but I think he certainly has a role in the NFL.
Right.
And I think he can come in and contribute right away. You just have to know what the limitations are.
All right, there you have it, the top 13 cornerbacks in the 2022 NFL Draft. Chuck G says, thanks to Jeremy, when draft talk comes up at work, I can now throw around some names and people think I know my shit.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's what I do, too.
I try to do what I can. There's one name that you didn't see that I feel like I have to address him because he plays for a school that we're an affiliate of, and a lot of people are just drunk on him.
Storm Duck.
Well, first of all, greatest name in the history. In all the years I've been doing drafts, I've never seen a name better than Storm Duck. Do you know how tall Storm Duck is? This is one of the few guys that I actually know almost to the millimeter where they're going to measure.
Was he short?
Storm Duck?
Yeah. No.
Storm Duck's 6'5".
Really?
As a corner.
I did not know he was that tall.
He is ridiculously tall. The problem is that there are times that he kind of looks like he runs with a 2x4 jammed up his ass. In the NFL, that shifty receivers are going to annihilate him.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Mel Kiper, and I don't know where he's at right now. I know there was a time that Mel Kiper had him as like the number 4 corner in this class.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen it. There has never been not one tape I've seen from Storm Duck where I go, yeah. But he's a guy. You remember what I said earlier about Roger McCreary, where if you put him in the wrong division, all of a sudden he's going to get abused by big receivers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Storm Duck's not. I would love Storm Duck going to any team in the NFC South, because there are a slew of tall receivers in that division. He strikes me as a guy that I would love to watch him line up against Kyle Pitts.
Okay.
And he strikes me as because you're seeing so many of these Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts, hybrid tight ends that are so big.
Yes.
They're too fast for linebackers, but they're too big for a corner. Well, that's why Storm Duck's going to go in the second round. Especially to AFC West, NFC North, AFC South. Teams, divisions where there are more than one really good big tight end.
So we could very well see him with the Chargers.
You can see him with the Chargers. You see him with Carolina Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
He strikes me as that. That's what he's going to do. And now, if you're in a division that has a bunch of tight ends, then hell yeah, more power to you. More power to you, because he's really, really good at that. And there's a lot of raw. I'm just afraid he's going to be drafted like a ready-made prospect.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. Don't draft him that way. It won't go your way. Just, okay, like, slow your roll. A couple other guys that I've talked about in the past. Darian Kendrick from Georgia. There's a lot of raw in him. He was a receiver. And he's another guy. I'd love to see him go in third round, where you can be more patient with him. I don't think he's going to. I think we've seen enough. This is the problem with guys that play at schools like that. You make the chunk play, and then scouts fall in love with it. And scouts fall in love with the burst or the ball hawking skill or the whatever the case may be, and they completely ignore everything else. Well, at Georgia, that's hard to do because they have every player on the defense has a draftable grade. They're not all in this draft, but when they come out, they will everyone have a draftable grade.
Mm-hmm.
That covers up for a lot of your deficiencies, and he has some real form deficiencies. Can that be coached out? Sure. You're not coaching it out of a second-round pick, because that guy's going to have to go in and play, and that guy's going to go in and get abused early.
Right.
Martin Emerson out of Mississippi State. He's a badass. Like a real, legitimate, I really don't want to mess with you badass. Problem is that he's hyper-aggressive. And if you get him in the wrong scheme, he's one of those guys that could have 6 great games in a row. And he plays up against the wrong corner and gives up 3 50-yard touchdowns in a row.
Right.
So that's why they did not make the list. Other guys that I'm not necessarily going to go super deep on, just names to know. Marcus Jones out of Houston. Hyper athletic.
Mm-hmm.
He's short. Like real short.
Like 5'9" short?
Like tank short.
Oh, like 5'4" short.
Yeah,
that's bad.
Yeah, he's 5'8".
Screw you.
He's 5'8"-ish. So he's going to have limitations in the league. I think he plays as a slot. I just don't know that there's necessarily a way to get away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Alontae Taylor from Tennessee. There's a lot of raw athleticism there, but he's going to need to be coached hard. I don't see what a lot of other people see in him. I just haven't seen it on the film. I could see where it would come from. I've just never seen him do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets a little bothersome to me. Seven Banks, that's a name that probably everybody knows. I don't really know what to do with him. He didn't hardly play at Ohio State this year.
Right.
Even when he was healthy, he didn't hardly play it. That's weird. As many problems as that defense had at times,
mm-hmm.
it never really seemed like they turned to him and went, you do it. So he kind of falls into that, the name is eluding me. What the hell was his name? The Patriots drafted him. They traded him earlier this year. Wound up playing safety. He was a corner. I talked a lot of shit about him, and his name is just not in my head. He went to Ohio State, too.
Shaun Wade?
Shaun Wade, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't project him as a safety the way I did Shaun Wade, but the raw talent was there, but they never counted on him. And that they obviously know him better than I do. And I think something has to be said about that. And Joey Porter Jr. from Penn State. He's a guy that he's going to go markedly later than people think. He's big, physical. He ain't fast. He's going to test. I'm afraid he's going to test super poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And then he falls, and then you start seeing then you start going down the Penn State thing that I did with Tariq Castro Fields.
Yep.
If there's anybody else anybody would like to know about, feel free to
just hit him up. Just hit him up, he'll tell you.
Tariq Woolen's a small school guy that I like. He almost made this list. He played at UTSA. Level of competition's a problem. There's a lot of the raw that I like in him because he's big boy. He's 6'3"-ish.
Okay.
I don't know how he's going to adjust to the NFL. A lot of the smaller school guys, I will see them either in passing or I will watch a very little bit of the tape and I'll wait to see what they do when they go through the process. Senior Bowl, Combine, and I'll start really – it's hard for me to gather what you're going to be in the NFL because, oh, look, he was super good against Tulane. I can't glean a lot from that. There's a lot of raw to really like.
Mm-hmm.
And this was Curtis Davis that asked this in the comments.
We also
I like him a lot.
Okay.
But I need to see more.
We also have a foodocracy question on the table, which apparently we're doing all foodocracy tomorrow? Is that what you said?
Well, I mean, we're trying to simplify things because these graphics are starting to be a bitch. and you're big into alliteration, so yeah, we like doing food things. We don't necessarily have a dedicated day.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was an idea.
Well, we got a foodocracy question. Seafood soups. Are you into seafood soups?
Not really.
Not really?
No.
Just when it comes to soup, you're just chicken noodle and nothing else?
Well, no, it's just my soup takes. There's a lot of soups, okay?
Yeah.
They're like, and there's a lot of them that are good. So I've never had a lobster bisque in my life.
Really?
I don't even know what that is, to be really honest with you.
It's like
I started hearing that during Seinfeld of the lobster bisque. Got to try the lobster bisque.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to try it, but I've never had it.
It's delicious. It is wonderful. I am by no means. You posted on Facebook yesterday what foods are absolutely disgusting to you.
Uh-huh.
I don't have any of those.
Everybody has one.
I mean,
Classic Clay
souse
said
meat.
the same thing.
I mean, souse meat is like gross.
That's not even words.
It's
you just said not words.
Yeah, it's all of the pig parts before they get ground up into bologna to make good stuff, but it's suspended in gelatin.
Anything with gelatin, I'm out.
Absolutely
if it
disgusting.
has gelatin in it, I'm out.
The seafood question, though, on the table: clam chowder, lobster bisque, oyster stew, or she crab soup. I mean, you got to go New England clam chowder.
Out. I don't eat clams.
Why?
Clams are gross.
That's not what she said.
Clams, I can't do it with clam. Oysters, I have gotten to a point where I'm like, hey,
yeah,
oyster with a cracker and some hot sauce, in.
Always New England clam chowder, never the Manhattan. I'm not a fan of the tomato based. I like the cream based.
I would, in theory, I would like that tomato based thing better.
I mean, it's good.
To
Don't
me,
get me wrong.
soups need to be tomato based. I'm not much of a cream guy. Like people say, "Oh, I've got this lovely cream sauce," or you give me some fucking ketchup, and that's all the sauce I need. Okay.
Lobster bisque, wonderful.
By the way, if you've never had an oyster with ketchup with a little hot sauce,
just put cocktail sauce on it.
Yeah, but it's more fun my way.
Okay.
By the way,
I mean, at a gas station.
This is a total aside. The cocktail sauce that we were referencing in Indianapolis, the name of the place is eluding me right now. Ryan McGee was at the national title game, they had that cocktail sauce in the suite.
Oh, did they?
And he was eating. It's very hot, and it's very good.
I can't remember the name of the steakhouse we were talking about.
Rob Johnson said he can't eat deviled eggs. There's a lot of people that don't like eggs, and I don't really understand that.
I mean, are you allergic to eggs, or you just don't like the taste? Is it the mustard flavor of the mix-in?
Eggs are so good.
Eggs are so wonderful. I mean, it's hard for me to pick a favorite out of those four soups, but I gotta go as a Charlestonian at heart. I have to go with the she crab soup. If that's on the menu somewhere, I'm going.
I don't know what
in.
that is. What the hell's a she crab? Is it a lady crab?
Yeah. I think that was Jonathan Welch that said the she crab soup sounds like my ex. Ugh. That's never a good thing. Never a good thing. But I would have to go she crab. I mean, I
don't know what that is.
It's like a crab bisque. It's the same thing, cream-based.
What is a bisque? All right.
It's a cream-based soup. And then you just put something in it. It's like lobster bisque, she crab bisque.
Patrick Holt said the only things I don't like for real are lima beans. I'm okay with a lima bean.
Yeah.
Raw celery. I love raw celery.
I do too.
And goat cheese. Yeah, I'm out.
Goat cheese is good.
Yeah, I'm out.
Especially on a pizza. Goat cheese pizza all the way.
Look, okay, I'm gonna and I'm gonna speak for cheese lovers because I love cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you have to eat weird cheese, or cheese that smells like dick? I don't.
Famunda cheese. You got a lot of Famunda cheese.
Like a good cheddar.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough to beat. Colby, the most underrated of all the cheeses.
Mm-hmm.
A good Jack cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Any of those. Why do you need weird cheese?
It's different flavor profiles. It's very good.
Well, it's a weird way of saying bad.
No, Gorgonzola is awesome.
Bad.
Blue cheese is wonderful.
Gross.
On everything.
Rotten. It's actually rotten.
Yeah, it's fine.
I have never looked at something and gone, hey, you know when that would be better? 9 weeks from now, and it's bad. It's in the title. It's bad. I feel like somebody out there looks at milk and goes, hey, you know when I like that milk? When it has lumps in it. I'd like it when it has the consistency of cottage cheese. Cottage cheese.
Yeah.
Gross. That's gross. Eat good shit.
Chuck G said he just had goat's milk the other day. Chuck G, I would like to know why. What was the scenario? What were the circumstances of was it just like, hey, I brought you some goat milk. Would you like to taste it? Okay. Or was it you went out and sought goat milk somewhere? And where do you go to seek out goat milk?
Probably to a goat farm, Fat Wager.
Probably.
Jake Eastock in the comments said pepper jack cheese is my favorite. Mine too.
Mm-hmm.
Mine too. That's exactly what it's delicious. It's wonderful.
Sharp cheddar.
Stephen Tao said cheese is rotten milk, but it's not though. It's just they do things to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same. I can't really explain to you the difference.
It's churned
Cottage
and cultured
cheese,
and
disgusting. Yeah. Disgusting.
Depends on what you're serving it with.
No, doesn't matter. You can serve it with gold. You can serve it with Hundies. I don't care. Cottage cheese is disgusting.
A little cottage cheese on some pears.
Jonathan Welch said Stilton Blue is healthier than some of the things that come out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Stilton Blue is. B, I don't understand the jabs.
Stilton Blue is like the primo blue cheese. Oh, so good.
Gross.
And it's got this, just the aroma is so pungent and sharp. Oh. It's got this creamy, so good.
Just normal cheeses, okay? Like Havarti, I can get down with a Havarti.
Havarti? Yeah.
Havarti's kind of like it's like Cheddar's lame-ass friend. But
I remember when I was in college, my grandma sent me some Havarti cheese in a care package, and then she got pissed off at me when I told her I put it on a bologna sandwich. It was like, what else did you want me to do with cheese? You put it on a bologna sandwich, but you don't put that expensive stuff on there. Yeah, you do, and it's damn good.
Not on bologna.
Mm-hmm.
Just ham, okay? Normal deli cuts.
Bologna's probably the most common deli cut. In the South, I would say.
Oh, well, maybe.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people that were like, "You got to try." Okay, let me just tell you something about me. All right, I'm gonna give you
He
a
ain't
little.
gonna try it.
I'm gonna give you a little insight to me. If you have to justify something to me, it has to be prepared a specific way, I'm probably not gonna like it. Bologna, it has to be smoked or fried or put upside down and hung in a meat locker and slapped with dicks or whatever it is. I'm probably not gonna like that. Deer, venison, whatever you want to call it. I'm probably not gonna like that. All right, I'm just probably. If I can't, but here's the thing: I'm very lazy especially when it comes to food, which is, as the PhD commercials say, is how I got into the shape that I have been in. I am all about convenient. So if I need to smoke something to eat it, ham has already defeated it. Because ham, I need it to be in a bag in my refrigerator. I need to take the things out, put it on some bread, and eat it.
Mm-hmm.
So that wins. I've never had somebody look at me and say, "I don't like steak. Well, you haven't had it prepared right." I've never heard that. Ever. I only hear that about weird shit that people convince me or try to convince me that I'm going to like.
Mm-hmm.
No. I like cow and pig and normal meats. I don't look at a badger and go, "I bet you're delicious." Mm-mm. Nope. I'll stick with my cow and my pig. Patrick Holt said great food usually isn't convenient. Here's the thing. You cook wonderfully amazing food. Your food, if you cooked it for me, would be super convenient because you would put it on a plate and you would hand it to me and you would go, "Here, you eat this." That's as convenient as it gets. There is literally, unless you're going to feed it to me like a baby bird, there is no more convenient way that can be done for me.
Just when it comes to you having to do it, you're not gonna.
Out. Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to fry bologna. No, if I'm going to fry something, I will fry chicken.
Rob Johnson, God bless you and thank you for your service, sir. Because he said when they were in boot camp, they served boiled eggs with cottage cheese. Ugh. And how did that go at PT? I'm just curious. Like, you have a whole shitload of guys just puking up rotten milk and eggs? Wonderful.
Ugh.
That sounds awful. Yet another reason, aside from the fact that I was, morbidly obese, that I didn't join the military.
I felt like that was just the time for a bail.
Yep, 100%. It was time for a bail. Let's see here. What else have we?
Well, I believe
Chuck G explained he was at a friend's house for supper. The friends have goats, and they offered him some goat's milk. And he said it was okay. All right. I just wanted to know.
People, things like that amuse me. And these are our goats.
Yep.
Why do you have goats? I don't get that.
They eat the grass. You never have to cut your grass.
Yeah, but you got to feed them and things like that. I'm not big into pets. I don't need something's livelihood to depend on me.
Especially pets that hurt you.
In theory.
Because goats suck.
Birds, squirrels, out.
Stop.
Because I forget to feed myself sometimes. So what are the chances I'm going to forget to feed old Chewy over here?
Chewy
the goat. He likes to chew on things, so we called him Chewy.
All right, good for you.
Patrick Gold said they're great pets. I'm sure they are. I'm not a great pet owner. I'm not a person that you look at and go, "Hey, you know what I should do? I should take this living thing and entrust you to care for it." Here, this is Puddles.
Mm-hmm.
He's a dog. You keep him alive. I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
But you have had pets before, and you're good with the pet. Like Mamba. You and Mamba were like thick as thieves.
Yeah,
you don't miss her?
Moved. No. She tried to eat.
She was a hassle.
So she was Mongo, one of my best friends that you will hear referenced on the show from time to time. He now has Mamba.
Mm-hmm.
Mamba tried to eat the neighbor's dog, and I went, "That's why you can't live with us anymore." Because now I live in a townhouse, and everybody around me has dogs.
Yeah.
Mamba would have looked at the dog and gone, "I'm going to eat that in my mouth."
Oh, she was a good girl for the most part.
Real dumb.
Real dumb dog.
Real dumb dog.
Real dumb dog. That's right. All right,
like
so
top 5 dumbest dogs in the history of creation.
All right, so we've closed out the poll, I see.
Yes, it appears that we're going to have one game each day.
All right, so we will be live reacting to one game each day.
And
so it'll be the late games, I guess, across the board.
I feel as though that decision may have been made for us because you have a UNCA game Saturday, don't you?
Yeah, but it's early in the afternoon. I mean, it'll be over by the time because the first game don't kick off till
4:30.
Yeah, it'll be over by then.
Well, I'm not going to do Tampa, so 6:30. So we can lock this in. Bills Chiefs 6:30 Sunday. That's.
Well, I mean, that was the call anyway.
Oh yeah,
that's the game of the day.
That was happening anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So now we got to figure out the other game.
I mean, it should be the primetime games, don't you think?
Yeah. The only thing is then that puts like I'm here until real late at night.
I'm the one that's going to be here at noon for a basketball game, so
you know what? Here's how we're going to do this. The highest voted single game was Cincinnati, Tennessee.
Okay.
That's the winner on Saturday.
Okay.
Kansas City Buffalo is the only game we can do on the second day. So that's the answer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Cincinnati, Tennessee, and Kansas City Buffalo. So it's the 2 AFC games.
All right.
I'm a very old person, and you don't want to see me at 11:30 at night because I get very angry. And Jonathan Welch said someone call football Farley. I could probably make that call.
Mm-hmm.
See if he could come make an appearance. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Old Brian, we hadn't seen him in a while. Saw him a few weeks ago. He's doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Sends his love to everybody. Once and again, he'll pop into the comments here. But anyway, all right. So we're gonna do Cincinnati, Tennessee, and Kansas City and Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Live reactions this weekend for the divisional round of the playoffs.
And that is, on the context that it appears that weather's going to hold out. So it doesn't look like this second snow event is coming.
No, it petered out.
Well, the only problem is that now it's getting dark and it rained all day. So
yeah, it's going to be okay.
Tomorrow morning is going to be a booger.
It very well could. That's why local schools are on delay again tomorrow. So, parents, you got schools kids in the Buncombe County school system. I know there's a 2-hour delay. I got the text message not too long ago. Yeah, it could be freezing overnight. So on your way to work in the morning, just be careful out and about the mountains of western North Carolina. We will play Beat the Chief tomorrow on the ESPN Asheville show. We will have all of the foodocracy questions as well, taking those in the happy hour tomorrow after the program. And who knows what else we will get into as we get ready for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. Y'all be safe. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.